Click, click.
Okay. Okay. No worries.
I say click, click. Hello, people out there in the world.
The Church of Mavis radio show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
You come to me in the night. myself. Is my life my whole life, or is it you an experiment made for your amusement? Oh, tell me, are my thoughts my own, or a sea placed by you? Why won't you show yourself to me? Let me keep my memories of you. Why won't you show yourself to me? Let me keep my memories of you.
Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Woo! We're gonna have to edit that so we got all the hosts in here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be helpful.
To your email, no, this show was not in the podcast awards. It will be next year. It wasn't this year. News on the flip side made runner-up as it usually does. It's 4 years in a row now. I guess I'll go ahead and buy it. I should have like 5 trophies. I'll never buy one. They want $200 for a trophy to start off with. It's just, I don't know. Until we win one, it kind of, you can ask Linda. When I used to play darts, one time I had like 300-400 trophies in my house. I got to the point where if it wasn't gold or platinum or where I want a big chunk of money, I just put it in a box and put it in the garage. It's all right. Put somebody on mute down here, man. All right, that's Leah.
Out in the world.
We'll take her off of mute in a little while. She's muted though because she was being kind of loud there. We can't hear you. Okay, you're back. All right, we're back. Hey, Whitey, what you doing down here? Witty, Whitey.
Witty.
I like to call him Whitey though. Like Whitey Ford or maybe Whitey, maybe Whitey Trump. No, Jack, we're not talking politics. That's Friday night. You know what? I have been thinking maybe a Tuesday or maybe a Thursday we might add a 1-hour news program just to keep it. We're so close to the election. Well, in the old days, we used to do – so in the old days, the way we did it, it's Friday night was the big show. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we had one host. There was 5 different hosts. One host did a half-an-hour segment of news on just to keep everybody up to speed. I mean, like the polls are flipping and changing, and there's so many things changed from just last week to this week. And what are we now? 19 days out. 20 days out. So we'll see what's going to happen in 20 days. If you're ready, the night of, everybody, most of the hosts will be here. We invite all the hosts on the network to come hang out and
half of us show up anyway.
We take over the network the whole night. Nobody's allowed to broadcast but us. You can broadcast in the background, but we take over the live section all night long because we're going to cause general havoc. It is one of the few nights that we allow booze on the network. Yes, it is one of the few nights we allow booze. Well, we got a strict policy about hosts drinking on the network. In the old days, we didn't mind as much, but it seems like the new batches of hosts can't hold their liquor as well as the old batches of hosts. So we had to kind of curtail that a little bit. Who, me? I can drink like a fish. Oh, no. I remember one of my dads, I told him how much I used to drink when I was in my 20s and 30s. He's like, and you're not an alcoholic? I said, no, I can drink when I want to and not drink. He said, how in the hell? But I have an unusually high tolerance to alcohol. Most people wish, I'm going to tell you a little secret. No one wants a tolerance of alcohol like I've got. Because you know what it means? You're going to spend a lot of money. That's all it means. And I can't drink beer because beer is a waste of time. All it does is make me go pee-pee. I have to drink liquor, and usually something over 100 proof. If I'm going to get any buzz at all, and I have to drink. I still hold at the brick oven, I still hold the record for most mixed drinks, 56 in one night. I won 10 grand free booze for a year. And they made things like flaming faggots and Italian flags. I mean, it is the sweetest, nastiest drinks you could think of. Layered drinks with 5 triple set. Oh my God! I don't even know how I made it through it.
Have you ever had a flaming Dr. Pepper?
I have had a flaming Dr. Pepper.
It's shocking how much I mean, it's
Like Dr.
beer and lit whiskey, and it's shocking how much it tastes like a Dr. Pepper, but it's got kick and fire.
Well, it's like a Long Island iced tea tastes a lot like iced tea, except it kicks
Yeah.
ass.
Well, yeah, that one too. That's one of the ones one of my specialty drinks. I'm really good at making that.
Jeremy, one of my favorites right now, whiskey sours. I got on a whiskey sour kick last time. Time before last, I was in LA. You mean my preferred drink? So if I want to go out and have a good time and just be giddy like a little Catholic schoolgirl, I'll drink White Russians.
Oh God, yeah, those are good.
They make me goofy and giddy and non-violent. Now on the opposite,
That's Matt's go-to drink.
well, because they're good and they're easy
good.
on the stomach, and you don't get the kind of hangovers you get with vodka and milk. You just don't get the kind of hangovers you get from most other liquors. But now,
And neither he is not a drinker. Neither of us are. It's a full moon tonight.
Yes, I saw that on the way out of work.
have y'all been watching the comet? It's been blowing by. I keep forgetting it's at dusk, so I always going to go look for it at like 9 o'clock. But by then it's freaking gone. We have been getting
building until dusk.
we have been getting the Aurora Borealis down here, and this far south. Okay, people,
all the way in Louisiana.
Well, I'm in Mississippi right now, and let me tell y'all something. You can't get any unless you're in Florida. You can't get any further south than I am right now. I actually live on the coast. Yes, the water is out in my backyard. You can't get any further south than this. You'd have to go to Florida or Texas or South Louisiana, way at the bottom.
Cuba.
Cuba. But I mean, for the United States, there's only two places you can really get any deeper than where I'm at right now. And literally, I mean, it's one night it was stunningly gorgeous. I was like, what, are we all going to die or something? Did somebody not tell us and the radiation's coming to kill us all?
Yeah, no, there was the brief thing about it. I don't think Fox only had one little, and I wouldn't even call it a 5-minute package. It was like a 2-minute, walkover, and that was it. But apparently it's just unusual large flare activity, so solar emissions that's doing it. But some of the pictures are stunning. One of my cousin's husband posted a picture, and I said, "Oh, you haven't seen the Northern Lights until you've seen them in the original Ansel Adams, who's a black and white photographer." And he thought I was serious. I was like, no, I was being funny. That was a joke.
Well, it's funny because usually when I see people sending me pictures of Northern Lights, they're green or blue or some kind of off green. This was deep, riveting purple with pink hues. Mm-hmm. It's just not the common you would normally see. What's that, Jennifer? Well, we don't usually see the Northern Lights. Then it's a rare thing to see in this.
You got to be in Alaska and further up. You got to be directly.
Well, you can be in like in northern Illinois and Montana. You might see them there, right at the
nights. But if you want to see it every day, you got to be like in Alaska, northern Canada, and further up.
What's that, Janice? That would be Michelle DeRoche. If you want to be on a network, that's who you have to write to. I do own the network, but she does all the hiring and firing. She does all the hiring. But you can send me at iCartCox.net. You can send me everything, but it is actually better to contact her. Well, because she knows what's open and what's not open. She knows where to put people. She designs days. She's just like I was. We design days a particular way. And so like Monday is a particular type of days. Tuesday is, Wednesday is, Thursday is, Saturday is. Saturday is actually designed to sell books is what Saturday's for.
And Tuesday is for tacos, so tune in.
Yeah, because I hear Sean makes a pretty good taco.
Yeah.
So he's on Tuesdays and Sundays. Well, I mean, we've got some new shows that have come in. Michelle keeps me up apprised on them. Hell, half of them I don't even know the names of yet. It usually takes me a couple of weeks to get used to the new shows and the roles. Denise and Mark, I'm glad you found it tonight. Genruku is a piece of crap. Okay, look, it just popped up again on my screen just now. So I had a long talk with them.
There it goes.
So I just, what do you mean? Well, no, I understand that. I mean, I was talking with Marco the other day, and it was working the whole time. It was acting like an ass here. But first off, it's not where it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's not where it's supposed to be. And yes, Denise, I know it's some code 18995, and that's like this freaking long to find it. It doesn't matter because starting around November 5th, it's going to be a whole different thing. We're going to be leaving this company and going with a new company. There may be a couple of days of crossover there, but we're definitely going to be changing companies. Well, because this company keeps telling me it's StreamYard. StreamYard keeps telling me it's them, and I'm just tired of playing. I got too many other things in my mind to be playing around with this. I like us being on TV, even though Rumble, I got to say, man. So I've been watching my host on Rumble because it's on Roku. Rumble's on Roku. So if you have Roku and Rumble, you can watch this on TV there, and it's a very crisp, very clean, and we broadcast in 4K. So you get a really good, crisp, clean look at all of us, Yes, you can see the little freckles on my face and stuff like that, the pimples on my ass if I was showing you that, but still. It's, high definition was the worst thing that could have ever happened to it. Matter of fact, Kamal, I hate to use you for this example, but so the other day I'm watching her and Trump talking, right? And, usually she's made up and all this. So I realized she's younger than I am, by the way. And she's got these 4 pieces of skin in a row just hanging down. I was like, nobody fixed that. Nobody caught that. I mean, no, it's not uncommon for her. She's almost 60. It's not uncommon for a woman her age, but I think she's like 58 or something.
58. No, she's around my age. Yeah.
And
I don't have. I don't have near that.
This shit's in good shape. Well, of course, I'm losing weight right now, so you got to be careful.
When you've lost some weight, is what I'm thinking. So that's where that's from.
And it is. Like right now, I'm losing weight, so I have been thinking about it. I actually have. No, my doctor won't give me a.
Look him to visit.
Hey, kitty, what's up?
That's Bill Rupert. He came to visit his new sister.
What's that, Jimmy? No. Anyway, we'll get in it. We'll talk maybe a little more about that at the break. Oh, I didn't play the regular intro. Actually, that was the closing or the break song I played. That Show Yourself. That was written by a regular a long time ago, about 23 years ago. He wrote that for us. He was a regular listener to the network, and he was a contactee. And he always wanted them to show himself, so he wrote. Matter of fact, there's a song, a very famous song that copies it in some rights. Why can't I think of it? Oh, Jesus, it's right out of my head now. And I can't never remember their video. I can only ever remember the video that the 2 girls made where at the end she's choking the other girl out with the hose.
I don't know it.
It's
Joe,
what was that?
did you know that tonight's moon, or it's actually full moon and tomorrow, but it's like 3 days of a full moon technically, but it's the fullest moon of the year, the biggest full moon.
Yeah, it's the biggest one, yeah. And we were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, it looked really big in the sky when I saw it on the way out from work.
Big and bright. You ought to see it hanging over the Gulf of Mexico.
I immediately thought that it looked like a Bob Ross, but
I know. Well, that's kind of what's that, Stephanie? No, I'm not. I'm in.
The only problem was there were no happy little trees there. It was all like industrial, like warehouse and manufacturing buildings.
Leah said I was a part-time adult, so I wore my occasional adult shirt.
Adulting sucks. It really does.
Nobody wants to be an adult. Who wants to be? I would be.
That's the thing. There's a hitch right there. The whole time you're a kid, you want to be an adult. The whole time you're an adult, you want to be a kid.
Because kids got it easy, man. I know y'all think y'all got it hard, but trust me, when you get into the real world, you'll find that you don't. Oh, yeah, there's lots of stuff that on Friday night we'll be talking about the Z-Genners. And, there was a great ABC. They did a, whatchamacallit group. Not a control group, I forgot what they call it. But these are undecided voters. You ought to hear. There's about 100 of them. And, Morning Joe's girlfriend or wife or whatever she is these days. What is it? Malinka? Anyway, whatever her name is. I can't stand her anyway. Homewrecker. So she was in with this control group along with some other people who were there. And when you hear these people talking, it is hilarious. First off, 75% of them said they're going to pencil someone in.
That almost never works. I don't think in the history.
Well, that ain't gonna never work, but they're just gonna write
on the local level.
I mean, there's always what's her name, Jill Stein. If you want to vote for her,
yeah, she's good. Well, I don't think she's in all of the states though.
I don't know. And and then we're going to talk about this guy Terry Randall, I think is his name. He's a presidential candidate in 12 or 14 states. He is running some great ads. I'm not going to talk about it on this show because it's not appropriate for this show, but. I'll try to dig one up for y'all on Friday. They made The View play it. They played it in front of The View, and it's a horrible ad. I mean, it's not for if you're a conservative or an independent, but if you're a Democrat, it's a horrible horrible, horrible. Anyway, we'll talk about that on Friday. Now, Jimmy, tonight we're going to be talking about. We get a lot of contactees who tell us, not abductees, but contactees and keepers that tell us about being on board of large ships. Now, I'll give you a description of one of them. So the great contactees talk about this ship. It's somewhere in the solar system. It's big. It's at least the size of our moon, or not bigger. So they talk about you. You walk out of your room. It's kind of like a dorm. You walk out of your room into a hallway, and you look straight out. There's an arboretum from the bottom all the way to the top. So there's plants and stuff all hanging over the edges. There's little waterfalls coming down. There's a main waterfall. There's a big body of water in the middle. It just all, they say the plants they use can produce oxygen at a faster rate than anything on our planet can produce, including man-made. So they use them for that, and they said it's one of the few ships where there's actually smells. Usually when you're on like one of the smaller ships where they're doing experiments or running you around, they said there's never smells, not even a clinical smell. There's just no smell at all. On this particular ship, because I guess there's plants and other types of aliens that are being abducted. These are not other types of aliens these are other types of aliens like us that are being taken. Some of them may be in the keeper group, but they're still being taken. The Greys run the ship. It's their ship. You will from time to time see like a reptilian or human or one of the council aliens there, but for the most part, it's the Greys and whatever groups they're working with. So you'll see a bunch of Earth contactees on there, but you'll see a lot of the black-eyed children contactees on there. I should say black-eyed people, not black-eyed children. And you'll see a lot of other types of races that are there along the same evolution as we are, a little below, a little above, but somewhere within 50 years of each other. So it's not a big. So when they're sitting down and they're talking to each other, if they're having lunch or dinner or whatever, because they have these big rooms where you can go eat, you're not so far apart that you can't understand each other technologically, and you're all of them are amazed at what the Greys have done. So when they tell you about this ship, when you look up, you cannot see the top of the ship. And you can only see the bottom if you're like halfway or down. If you're 2/3 of the way up, you can't even see the bottom of the ship. You can hear the water, but you can't see it. It's too far of a distance. I'm thinking, how big is this freaking thing? I mean, most people say it's.
Well, I mean, if it's as big as the moon, how many people could live on the moon? Is what 1/6 the size of Earth?
Oh yeah,
So
you could put 100 million people on the moon easy.
No problem. But there's speculation that the moon is also a spaceship.
Yeah, well, they say it's hollow. Well, so
rings like a bell if you drop stuff on it, like the command module.
So we've shot stuff at the moon. We've shot lasers. Matter of fact, we keep mirrors on the moon so we can shoot them with lasers regularly to check the distance of the moon, because the moon is slowly but surely moving away from Earth. At some point in the future, we're not going to have convection currents anymore. And without convection,
we'll lose the tide. We'll lose the Coriolis effect. We'll lose most of our weather.
But without convection currents, we will die, because plankton will produce at about 10% of what it produces now. So plankton needs the water. So convection current, people, is a current that runs all the way up to the northern part of the country, comes back around, runs all the way below the border down to the southern part of the world. It just runs around like this, and it's carrying all that food.
It's like the Gulf Stream.
It is. It's like a Gulf Stream of water. That's really what it is, except it just makes a loop, a big monster loop, but it's still it's a loop. And that's really what it does. But without it, like he was just saying, there'll be a lot less weather. There won't be any tides. Everything will be flat. And eventually it will start to kill everything in the sea, except for in certain areas.
Near the equator will probably be the place that dies the slowest.
So, Jack, I see what you just posted. So when I was a kid growing up, they used to always say the rainforest was produced most of the oxygen on the planet. Of course, now they know that's not true.
They also used to say that most of the oxygen was produced by volcanic activity.
Yes.
There's not that many volcanoes actively going off.
Yeah, so now we know it comes from plankton. Well, they couldn't figure out how the ocean was getting oxygenated. I mean, ocean's a big place. I mean, think about it. It's 2/3
billions of decaliters.
Yeah, and how was all of that getting oxygenated? And then they figured out
how it was. 8 miles down, it's not even getting any light. How is that maintaining oxygen? 8 miles down with those ecosystems, how are they getting oxygen all the way down there?
Yeah,
there's no photosynthesis whatsoever that far down, so there's no plant life spitting out oxygen.
Yeah. What's that, Dean? No, there's a lot of things we don't understand. We do know plankton, though, produces about 78%.
Anything with photosynthesis, any kind of plant will produce oxygen, but clearly it must. I mean, to saturate the ocean with enough oxygen to get it down 8 miles, where there are bizarre ecosystems, that's a large. I mean, I can't even fathom the volume of oxygen molecules in the ocean. Where is it coming from?
Then they're going to be compressed because they're way down there. Well,
the great pressures too. Yeah,
it's like when something from the real deep comes up to the top. Sometimes they implode.
Yeah, they don't last long.
Yeah, it's
they flatten out, or they.
Whales can die pretty deep, but they cannot dive to the bottom of the ocean. If that's what you're saying, no, they would die. It would crush them to death, just like anything else. It crushes steel tanks. You don't think it's going to crush a whale? Come on, give me a break.
How many people were on board that machine that imploded down by the Titanic? 5 or 6 people. Squished in the jelly.
That's a horrible way to go, people. I mean,
but they said that the collapse was so fast that they wouldn't even have received the pain. It was completely painless.
Well,
our pain receptors work at like 0.004 nanoseconds, and the thing collapsed in on like 0.002 or something like that. I mean, it was like instantaneous.
It was. Oh no, James! I heard one of the recovery people talk about it. It's a horrible thing because you imploded. You didn't explode outwards; you imploded.
They were squished into jelly. They showed pictures of the wreckage once they found it, and there are no bones, no clothes that are visible. Just this green goo, green jelly.
It's pretty nasty the way it affects you. Well, you mean the plankton? So if I remember, it's been a long time. I think it's enough plankton to cover the surface of the planet, 100 times over, 8 foot deep, all the way around the entire planet. Well, there's a lot of it because a lot of things eat plankton. The whales, all kind of big whales eat plankton.
They're constantly the baby whales anyway.
Yeah, and then some of them are eating the plankton so they can get the krill out of them. Krill's a little shrimp, and they hide up in the plankton.
Well, what do you think the krill are eating?
Yeah, the plankton. That's what they're eating.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like the Sargasso Sea, they have an abundant place where you have floating plant life, plankton, krill, and then you have a few, surface feeders that wade through it and suck in all that stuff.
Jimmy, that is true. There are places on this planet where you can float and not sink in the water. And they like the Dead Sea is one of them.
There's that Pink Lake.
Yeah, the Pink Lake.
The Pink Lake it's in South America. I think you can float on that.
I know there's one in Australia too. So there's like 4 places.
Oh, that might be the Pink Lake. Is in Australia.
It might be the Pink Lake. Might be in Australia. But regardless, the salt content is so high, you float.
Around the Dead Sea, there are large pillars you can just walk down to the water and snap off, a 5-pound, stalagmite of salt.
Oh, I was watching a guy.
And you got salt for your house.
Well, Jimmy, there's not really anything that lives in it.
Nothing can. That's why they call it the Dead Sea. It's dead. Nothing can. It's so saline that if you were to swim in it long enough, it will kill you.
Yes, it's not. Well, it's just one of those things. But getting back to what we were talking to, it seems like these aliens are using this kind of materials as part of the way they clean and take care and scrub their air in their ship. What's interesting about it, when you listen to a contactee talk about it, so they're assigned a room. If they're an abductee and they're there, they're usually assigned a partner, mostly contactees, but sometimes it's another abductee. So there might be 2 or 3 people in the room, sometimes even 4. But contactees themselves get a room by themselves. Yes, contactees and keepers get a room by themselves. Anybody who's actually working for them or involved in what's going on or is involved in any type of training tend to get their own rooms. Now, what's funny about a room, when you walk into the room, it's white, kind of a white, and the light comes from the walls themselves, it illuminates whatever their paint is, whatever they use, illuminates. It's not a bulb or anything like that. It's more like something like a plant would do or something.
There are types of lichens that are phosphorescent that will glow.
Yeah,
So maybe it's like that. It's a plant technology, maybe.
So when you walk in the room and you're thinking about what it is that you want, like you want a sink and a toilet, whatever, it'll pop up. The ship itself makes it. It'll make a bed for you. It'll make a closet for you. It'll even make clothes for you. Matter of fact, when I said it'll even make food for you. So when you go on board, it's like a really advanced enterprise is what it is. Way more advanced. No, the Enterprise is not that advanced. I'm sorry. The Enterprise has a replicator that can make food, but this is far more than a replicator.
Well, the replicator can also make parts to fix the ship. It can make clothes, all that kind of stuff. So, like the way they describe it is when, let's say, Captain Kirk rips his shirt like he does in almost every other episode. He just puts it in a replicator recycler. It takes that material and just 30 seconds later, he has a brand new same size shirt. No muss, no fuss, no stains, no rips. But you would also think
that in a
25th
century.
at that level of Star Trek level that their clothing wouldn't be so fragile.
That's what I was thinking.
But allegedly their clothes, like some of the Greys wear like a very thin. You might call it mithril in like fantasy world, but they wear like it looks like a shiny shirt. Some of them sometimes, but bullets apparently will not pass through it, and the material appears to be no thicker than like a t-shirt. Imagine having a shirt like that. Someone can come up to you and hit you with a hammer, and the damage doesn't go through the shirt.
Well, I know they came out with a new bulletproof shirt. It's not Kevlar; it's something else. It is way lighter.
They're calling it atomically aligned metallic fibers, but it's the same idea where they got Kevlar from.
Yeah, but it's just not. Well, Kevlar shirts are a little thick, guys. It's not.
No, it's also a polymer. It's multiple layers of stuff. Plus, there are also additives like steel and ceramic trauma plates that you can put in over strategic areas, so they won't blow your heart out with the first shot.
Well, with the Kevlar there, it's a layer. One layer going this way, then a layer going this way, then a layer going this way, then a layer going that way. And they can put plates in it as well. It just depends what it's being used for. For police, they're just normal Kevlar vests, and they'll stop up to maybe a 380.
There's like 5 or 6 levels. The ones that most police use is called level 3A or B. I don't remember which. There's 2 of them, A and B. I think it might be the B one, but theirs will stop everything up to like 50, just under 50 caliber. So like shotgun blasts. And so on.
I get my 30-06 out day in deep shit. But I ain't gonna do it for chest anyway, so it doesn't matter. He kept what they want. It's not gonna matter.
50 caliber is gonna go through most Kevlars. So.
Well, I mean, there
are other bullets too. There's the Black Talons, which are still out there. They're not illegal. They haven't been banned. They were banned. They were called cop killers, but they haven't been banned. They're a type of bullet that turns into like 5 or 6 or 8 razor sharp claws, and when the bullets are spinning, those razor sharp claws will cut through Kevlar. If there's no trauma plate, that bullet will penetrate.
Yeah. So what they are is they're what they call a light hollow point. So when a hollow point hits you, it splits. These actually split from the air force as they're moving towards the person.
And spin, and you can cut it.
So what it does is as the bullet naturally has a spin to it, and what happens is as it's going along, these split open and they just make a little razor and they cut right through you. No, normal bullets don't do that. Target bullets aren't even going to penetrate.
Ball ammo will not do that.
And a hollow point's not going to.
The best example for the audience for what would happen to ball ammo if it were shot into, say, like a drywall or into a water or a gel body. There's like fake gel things, ballistic gels. Look up evidence. I think it's 237 or 238 from the JFK trial. It's one of the bullets that said that allegedly bounced through both Kennedy and Governor Connolly, and then shows up as this pristine bullet with one little ding on it. That's what most ball ammo does when it's shot out of a gun. It deforms slightly. Yeah,
unless they're hollow points, and they're not going to do. And regular hollow points don't do as much as like the target. I mean the triggered ones. Some hollow points have a trigger inside of them.
Yeah.
So when the trigger hits, it just shatters the whole bullet. So
it expands the bullet into a larger size. So it goes from like
it doubles the size of a hollow point, or triples the size of a hollow point is what it does.
Well, and the mechanics behind bullets, a lot of people may not know, and we've talked about it before, but certain ammunitions, particularly ones used in World War I and II, they weren't designed to kill you. They were designed to go through you, the guy standing behind you, and the guy standing behind him, and take you three guys out of the fight. And you come back another day once you're fixed and all battered up, but it wasn't meant to
for the
kill.
Geneva Conventions, against the Geneva Convention to use any type of split bullets. Almost all military bullets are hollow or steel piercing.
They're either both tail piercers or they are ball ammo.
And it's just for the reason Jay said. They're not because in the war, death is but people are going to die because they use other bigger rounds, not guns, but
like bombs.
Yeah. Bullets will travel between Mach 2.5 and 5.5. Just depends what the load is and how much powder's behind it.
And how heavy the bullet is.
So remember, when you read about a bullet, there's 2 grain things you have to pay attention to. One is the actual powder grains inside the bullet. The other one is the actual physical weight of the head of the bullet
the projectile. Now, sometimes they actually use drams for the powder, but in most all bullets, and some do. But I think you'll see that on most shotgun ammunition. But for the most part, it's small amounts, and it's amazing how just a little bit of this little black and gray powder can shoot a little thing smaller than your thumb, smaller than your pinky. And
my 30-06 bullet was about that tall and about that big around, and it held about 400 grains of powder in it. Yeah, way more than enough to mess your world up.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
A 30-06. It's made to take out a deer with one shot. And I used to use 180 grain heads on it. So the only thing about those is they tend to tumble after about 200 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way more than y'all needed to know about bullets. I'm sorry, guys. Let's get back to the alien. There's an alien in here with us, man.
Yeah, don't even get me started on my story where I boat tailed.
Well, you were on this show with you missed that show, didn't you? When we had the gun expert on.
No, I guess I did. Yeah.
Oh man, so on the Arthur's Quill, we had this gentleman come on. He does all the diagrams for all the guns. He takes them and breaks them down in all the pieces and tells you what each thing does and what they're for and how to put them back together. He breaks all the different ammos down for all the. He's got when we talked, he must have had at least 3,000 or 4,000 weapons registered at that time. I mean, he knows his stuff. He really knows his stuff. It's Bill Forte introduced me to him. He was a very interesting guy. We're going to have him back.
How do you enjoy 3,000 or 4,000? Firearms. I mean, you can't.
That's not his arm. That's just how many he's documented and put all the information out on the web. There's got a whole website for him where you can go look at these guns from start to finish and back. So if you're not like us, who really knows a lot about guns, and you're just an amateur, everything you need is on his website.
Oh, that would probably still benefit me. I mean, I'm not a ballistics expert. I know more than the average Joe. I worked at a rifle and pistol.
Oh yeah, there's a lot he's got like grenade launches. I think he's got 300.
Oh god, that would be so much fun to shoot.
I've shot 4 grenade launches. The last one I shot was a 203.
You remember Predator, the guy with the grenade launcher? You got time to duck?
Well, the last one I shot was it actually clipped under an M16.
Yeah.
What is 203 or 208? I forgot which one. 303 or 308. I can't remember. But
what's the M203?
It's just a grenade launcher.
It's a grenade launcher that's underneath M16s. I think it's right. It's M203 or M208.
And then you'll be shooting your M16.
It's a 10 millimeter grenade.
I don't know. It's about
It's about that big around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about big around.
Yeah.
Probably 10 mil. No, it might even be bigger than 10 millimeter. It might be. I'd have to think about it. It was pretty wide. It was. If I had to measure it across the.
It's bigger than a shotgun.
Oh, it's twice the size.
It's way bigger. I mean, it's like 5 shotgun shells.
I want to say it was maybe 1.5 inches across.
If you took 5 shotgun shells and held them together, it'd be about that size.
Yeah. Oh, they're fun to shoot. But anyway, I'm sorry, Jesse. We'll get back to the aliens. You can't bring none of this shit on board any mothership.
So aliens have guns too.
But they have.
Do they have guns or do they have lasers?
Well, they have some sort of.
What is actually, so if you've ever watched Stargate, what is more effective? Them stupid blast sticks ain't nothing compared to them P90s, man.
Oh my God, no.
By the time you get 3 shots at it, I think they done laid up 200 bullets in your ass.
Yeah. Well, they come standard with a 100-round magazine. I think they have a 500-round box you can put on top of it, but they have an extremely fast cycle rate for shooting bullets. I forget how fast, but it's faster than the Uzi. but they have 3 rounds, and one of them is the SS-28, and it's an armor piercer. It will go through most Kevlar unless you have metal or ceramic trauma plates in place. Go right through you.
What's that, Dean? So we were just talking about the gray ships. So the gray ships are phenomenally huge. Whether they're round or square, it's an argument because I don't think that many people have seen them from outside.
Yeah, I think they're too big to come closer to our planet, but
they can't get close to our planet. They cause damage to our planet.
You were
Do
talking
they have
about
internal biomes?
Well, he was saying, yeah, the whole central stalk is all living plants and falling water to keep the plants alive. What kind of weaponry must they have on board? Because if someone shoots, you shoot a laser gun and kill all their plants, they no longer can produce oxygen.
Well, I imagine they've got. I imagine
they have some pretty advanced stuff.
But what's interesting is, so if there's where this thing is, there's cuts in between where the plants are. You can walk out there and float up or down. With inside the biodome, you can float up or down. It's like an arboretum. That's what it really is. It's like a really huge arboretum, is what it is.
Right. But the gravity say is like in that stupid movie that when the Total Recall remake, where they go through the planet and it's not on Mars, and it
is something kind of like that. So that was a stupid movie, by the way.
Which one?
That was a dumb movie.
Maybe I just went. I don't know.
The second Total Recall.
Well, it wasn't Total Recall. That's what I was confused about. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's Total Recall. You need to check it out." So I'm expecting to see Arnold and Mars and.
Yeah. Well, I was expecting to see Mars, but no. I think it was more like the original Philip K. novel, Philip K. Polk or whatever.
Well, people, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But anyway, getting back to the ship. So when they talk about this thing, it's huge, and each floor is self-sufficient, meaning that everything is there that every other floor has. There's hollow rooms. There's rooms where you stay. There's places to eat. There's recreation places.
Each
places
level has
practice fighting. So it's just tiered out. And if they're correct, there's probably anywhere from 10 to 100,000 people on each floor.
How many floors?
They don't know. They can't. You can't see top or bottom when you.
Well, if it's the size of a moon, like our moon, let's just call it the Death Star. Like you see in Star Wars.
I think the Death Star could fit inside of it.
Here's the Death Star. Here's the Death Star right here. Millions of people could have been on that. Tens of millions could have been on Darth Vader's Death Star.
Yeah, and that's the problem. We just don't know.
No, but is that a spaceship, or is that a colony ship, or is that their whole planet?
Is it?
All they say is it's a mothership because it doesn't just have people on it. It keeps all their crafts on board. It even keeps the medium-sized motherships on board. So, like the ones we get reported, the long rectangular ones we always hear about with the weird bumps on it that we found out later on were actually saucers, and they hold up to 10 or 12 saucers. Well, that thing can actually park inside of this.
Well, yeah,
because that thing is huge. I mean, it holds 10 or 12 saucers. When you look at it from the ground, it looks spanking huge. Kind of looks like that thing Leah took the other day, just expanded.
What? That one. So people are saying that that's AI generated.
Well, we'll have to put it up there and look and see. I mean, it could be.
All the images that are coming out of the Aurora Borealis that people are like, what did I see in the sky? A lot of it is because they're using these brand new iPhones that have AI capabilities with their new cameras. Like AI image resonance or whatever.
But if you see it with your eye, then you know it's not the phone.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest part. If you look up and see it, and you know that's what it is, then
I think that was the case with that one that I sent to you. She took a picture of it because she saw it in the sky, or I don't know who it was, but
what it was. Well, it looks like a brush in the sky. It's maybe there's a giant living up there or something. But I'm just teasing, guys. But when you hear them talk about these ships, these things are massive. Now remember, guys, there was a picture taken. Actually, it was more than one. There was a picture taken by a NASA Sun satellite, and there was these looked like board cubes. There was 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, and they looked like there was a place for nothing. They looked like they were controlling some kind of portal or something. It's like they were there to help run the portal or something. It's not like they were going through it. It's like they were part of the operation on whatever did it. No, they're not. They're not building a Dyson sphere around our sun. We know that. Trust me.
Yeah, you would see it.
No, it would start blocking out the sun from our planet. We would know. Well, they've talked about that, Bobby. They've talked about putting an Earth shield up so that they can cut down half the sunlight coming to the planet.
First,
Matter
they
of fact,
should try and remove all the space debris.
well, they got to do that because they want to make an Earth shield that's made out of solar panels. So it would reflect all the heat away from the planet and absorb the energy and beam it back down to Earth. So it'd be twofold. We'd get the power from it, and it would shield the planet from excess sun. Oh, they can do it. Oh, no, Chris. It'll take a couple of decades, but it's not beyond our technological standards right now. It's well within our parameters of building stuff. Well, the original one, see, Elon is putting all them Starlinks up. So if Elon was putting them up and they had solar panels on them and he made them to where they could link up later on, they would just make one huge solar panel. And what's funny is Elon built his satellites so that instead of being like this, where you can see them, they're like this, so you can't. So the sun goes on the sides of them instead of hits it on the top and shines, it goes on the side. That was slick. He didn't have to do that. But he said because his goal was to put 40,000 of these in space, he didn't want you looking up and seeing a bunch of little dots flying around in the sky. He actually thought about that. Most companies wouldn't even thought about that. They just went ahead and did it, and then we'd all bitched about it later. It's like building on the moon. See, China wants to build on the moon, but they want to build on the dark side of the moon for two reasons. One, they don't want us looking at it, but they don't want to be looking at it either. So anything you build on the light side of the moon, the bigger it gets, the larger it gets, the more we're going to be able to see it on Earth. Like in Star Trek when he talks about Lake Armstrong up there. You can see it from the ground. Well, I don't want to see that. It's not my moon. I want to see the moon, the romantic, beautiful moon. I don't want to see a bunch of buildings on. You want to put buildings? Put it on the other side where we can't see it.
Well, that's exactly what William Riker said on Star Trek. He's like, he was describing looking up at the moon and Mars from Earth, and he's like, you can see the colonies on Mars and Moon, and so, and he names all these colonies, and like, yeah, who wants to see a lit up city up there on the moon? I don't. Maybe on the backside we won't be able to see it.
But won't it be freezing?
Well, it's going to be freezing.
Star Trek technology won't matter, but yes, it will be freezing outside of any dome you have.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter you're front of the moon or the back of the moon. No, Chris, it's not actually the dark side. I'm not sure why it got coined the dark side.
Only moon that I want to be on is Peanut Island.
Pink Floyd knows the truth about the moon, and they said it in their album. There is no dark side in the moon, really. As a matter of fact, it's all dark.
Oh. Do any of you?
It's all the same color, so I mean, it's all gray, which is a dark color. That is the correct answer.
Do any of your viewers or listeners? I wonder if there's a way that they could respond in any way, or the ones that do like comment. Do any of them play the game No Man's Sky?
Oh, I've heard people talk about it before. I don't know if anybody listening does, but
well, I want to find out. I want to know if any of the viewers or listeners play that game, and if they feel like it has some type of, I don't know, like if it's an AI, it's artificially intelligented, procedurally generated. Everything in it is procedurally generated, and I don't know. It kind of, to me, is like a parallel to what if this reality is a simulation. Like it's very, very, it feels very real, and I feel like I've, had dreams about it before, but I don't know. I'm just curious if anyone out there plays the game because it's really a fun game.
Anybody listening to that?
I don't.
You should look into it.
What is it called? Nomad?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, like No Man's Land,
yeah.
but it's No Man's Sky.
What's that, Jimmy? I don't know. You just have to ask Leah. I don't know. I don't get to play video games anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore. I played everything in their mom for a long time, but I don't have the time.
Wow.
I can't sit down for hours on end.
I've got a console, and I don't know the name of it, but it's in my Amazon shopping cart for later for $75, and allegedly it has every NES game, every SNES game, and then there's another Nintendo system after that. Then it says it has all of Nintendo's coin-op version video games from the 80s. I think one of them was Pac-Man. Didn't they do also? They did Space Wars or something like that. Anyway, $75. I'm going to give it a shot. See if I can get my old groove back.
I think I've seen one of them before. They got them emulators that now put everything on them. That
Yeah, they have other ones where you can get, and it says like 10,000 games. You know, it's like it comes with 6, but you got, if you want the other 10,000, you got to download them through the internet.
My son still plays. I don't know what he's been playing lately, but he's still games. Yeah. He's
I only
38.
I only played 3 games.
What does he play?
I only played 3 games too, Lee. And my 3 games were Intellivision, ColecoVision, and Atari Vision.
Nice.
Jackie. No, anyway. No, I keep getting sidetracked, but so
Sorry.
the gray ships are just like no, sorry, the gray ships are interesting because of their size, the massive size, but the reptilians and humans seem to have basically ships like those. I don't know if they're not quite as advanced, but still they have a lot of the stuff the gray ships is. They're just some of their stuff is more click and switch versus the grays. Grays don't have click and switch technologies.
Yeah, I would say the grays are more like what Star Trek. If Gene Roddenberry had the technology and the budget, he probably could have done it like the way the light beings have and the grays have.
Yeah.
So I would say
they were moving that way with Voyager, with the the gel packs, but they're still a long ways up. And even though they do have the replicators, it's just in these for some reason
they still have buttons and things that to activate. So I was thinking that maybe the reptilians and so on are more like Star Wars, Star Trek level, and the grays and the light beings are, you know, beyond that. You know, millions of years.
They're way beyond that. They well, with the reptilian, one of the nice things about the gray ships is it remembers your favorite. So however you do your room, when they bring you back and they let you go, it'll automatically, when you walk in, it will automatically go back. It doesn't matter where you are on the ship. Could be anywhere.
Is the whole ship like an organic creature?
The whole thing is, it's just like the small ones. It's just huge.
So it's exactly like that episode in The Next Generation where they take that psycho, not psycho, but Tin Man. That's the one. That's one of my favorite episodes. It's a really cool thing. Because when he gets on board, he's a telepath and he touches the skin of the wall of the ship inside, and his hand sinks in like it's tissue, like you know, flesh,
like a pillow.
Like a pillow, yeah, but it's more like flesh. And then when Data, the android, the robot, touched it, it's like he's touching drywall. It's like, you know, it's solid to him. Very cool.
I don't know when sci-fi introduced those kind of ships, but I know in Babylon 5, the Vorlons had those kind of ships.
Roger Dean, the artist who did all of Yes's album covers and some of the Grateful Dead's and other Tangerine Dream and so on, he was one of the first to draw the song Fish by Yes is about Schindleria Praematoris, which is a sardine. It's an instrumental song, but he painted this thing called the Fish, which is like a part organic, part mechanical spaceship, a being that lives in space and flies through space.
You know, these are organic ships. There's no doubt about that. But the Greys and Reptilians are not organic ships. They may even have some organic components, but they're nothing like the Greys' technology. Not yet, anyway. But I don't want to take anything away from the Reptilians because they have badass technology. It's just what I like to call. And when I say click and switch, people, I don't mean click and switch like we have. All of our shit's wired together. We are moving towards wireless, but all of our stuff right now is wired together. None of their stuff is wired together. There's no fiber optics, none of that. I imagine on the smaller ships there probably is because it's probably easier to do with that.
Well, they have to have some way of transferring energy beams. I mean, electricity throughout the building.
It travels through there. We're actually working on this technology today, but they have a technology that the power. So you know what I do remember though? What was it? The Forbidden Planet was the first movie I ever saw where the instruments were not wired together. The power was just transferred, pure energy from one place to the other place to the other place. For some reason, the energy didn't affect you. It didn't go through you. It didn't harm you. but it did have everything wired up because in the movie, the first thing they were doing was looking all underneath it, looking for what was it? That's what Leslie Nielsen had. Hey, Christopher. Before he was a comedian, yes, he was a leading man in this movie. This was the first color sci-fi ever made. I think it was made like 1954 or something.
56 or 57. I'll
Yeah,
look
it was
it up.
somewhere up in there. Yeah, all I know is in the 50s, and it holds up okay. I mean,
Well, the other
sound,
cool thing about Forbidden Planet is almost all of the special sound effects that were used in the movie were recycled for
oh god,
a little TV show that I don't know any. Probably no one's ever seen it or heard of it, but it was called Star Trek.
they use so much. Well, look at the robot got turned into Robbie the Robot on what was that? Lost what? Not what was it?
Lost in Space. No, that's incorrect. That's a modern myth that people often make that mistake. The robot on Lost in Space is called B9. B is in boy, and he's the one that goes Danger, Will Robinson. Yeah, different robot altogether.
Oh no, but what they talked about is the base is what they used to make that one. It's one of the trivia questions.
I believe in the movie he's titled as Robbie the Robot.
I think he is Robbie the Robot in the movie.
But
he's not.
I've forgotten. It's called.
And
what?
even though the Lost in Space one looks a lot like him, it's only the base that's the same. The top
Yeah, they're quite. Well, one has legs and one doesn't. What was the movie called for Leslie?
No, in those two, neither one of them had legs. They both had little tracks.
Us.
Yeah, they both had tracks.
What's the name of the movie again, Joe?
Forbidden Planet.
That's it. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
It's an old movie, people. Yes, but
there it is. Walter Pidgeon and Francis.
There were some pretty decent stars in it too. Besides
the
guy who played the protagonist was pretty good. What was about the id? Well, I'm not going to get into what the id is, people. If you don't know what the id is, look it up.
Yeah, Richard Anderson, who played Steve Austin's
How do you
boss
spell it?
6 Man Dalmatians in there.
The id?
Yeah,
the id?
ID.
It is like the subconscious. Yes.
Oh, guess who was a crewman on this movie? James Best, who is better known as QQQ. Roscoe P. Coltrane. Yeah, Robbie the Robot. That's what he's labeled as, and he does have legs. He does not walk on tracks. He has 2 legs.
Oh yeah, the black one. Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
the black round, the little round bally legs.
So let's do this.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Where is Lee Studio invite present? Boom.
No. So Lost in Space was on the tracks. Robbie Robot was on little black legs.
Yeah, I'll show you the ones. Here is
I think I got Robbie it backwards because I was thinking.
And Leslie Nielsen and Walter Pidgeon from Forbidden Planet. You see, he clearly has legs. Let me get rid of that. Standing on 2 legs. Robbie the Robot. Very similar up here to B9.
Yeah, up here. Yeah, so it's the top is the same, not the bottom. What was that, Jackie?
Let me find B9 for you, and I'll be right back.
It's a fun movie to watch. It's a goofy movie. In today's standards, it would be a goofy movie because of the technology involved.
But did people take it really seriously back then?
Oh yeah, it was a great movie. And no one could figure out how Leslie Nielsen went from a leading man because he was a damn good one to a comedian. He's the guy who did all the movies and stuff.
He was good at the physical comedy. There's no doubt.
Oh, yeah, it was good in comedy. Yeah, he did a lot of.
So going back to No Man's Sky, they have living ships. They have all different kinds of ships. They have big, what they call freighters, which are like huge ships.
But these are huge. But I can understand. I mean, if the Greys live on the other side of the galaxy, you would want a little resemblance of home. So having a big ship here parked, people always think it's for us, but it's not necessarily for us. This is just where it's parked. Somewhere out near Jupiter or Saturn, it's parked out there. It probably just looks like one of the moons around Jupiter is probably what it looks like.
Do you think we're just a zoo for them? Do you think we're just like a big incubator science experiment?
Well, yeah. In some ways we're a science experiment, but in some ways they actually like us and care about us and want to see us evolve. I mean, they want to see us get into deep space. They want to see us become part of the galactic community, but not in the state we are today.
Here is Robot B9.
It's not. Yeah, there it is. They
which almost has 2 legs, but then they end in 2 tracks.
yeah, they put the I don't know why they did this.
Completely different up here and completely different here in the hand.
Poor,
too.
and this poor robot, man, he got messed up so many times it ain't even funny.
Is that
Well,
the one? Is it like remote controlled?
No, I don't know. I never looked. I thought they said there was somebody in both of them, but you know what? I never really.
There was a midget in both of them operating the machines.
Yes, because it was what, Danger Will Robinson? Yeah, that's what he was, Lost in Space. Danger Will Robinson.
Yeah, that's robot.
Well, the new robot now, the new robot in the new movie is badass.
He's badass, yeah.
He's not. He's not. He's badass.
Yeah, the Lost in Space movie did not suck, but it wasn't awesome, but it didn't suck.
Well, the series, what they had, 3 seasons for the new series. Was that what it was? 3 seasons?
I think it may even still be going.
No, it didn't, because I was watching it when it came on, and I think it was 3 seasons. Unless it came back out again.
It was pretty good.
We mention these people to give y'all points of references when we're talking about these ships, because you need something. So when we talk about organic ships, which we're talking about right now, we're helping you to understand what an organic ship is. One of the reasons we brought up the movie we were just talking about is because they had technology that was not connected by wires. It wasn't even switches. You thought about it. You operated it. The
3
little dials
seasons for the new one.
Yeah, 3. That's what it was.
My question is, if it's a living organic being, the ship itself, what was its food source? How did it sustain its bio essence?
It absorbs human energy.
They didn't really describe that much on the Tin Man episode, but the spaceship they found was a living entity. It was sentient, and somehow something happened to the crew. All the crew died all at once, and the ship did not want to continue going on. It was about to commit suicide, which is why it parked itself by a sun that's about to explode, and it conveyed all that to the telepath in like a split second and almost burned his brain out. And then the spaceship took the non-biological, the robot, sent him back to his ship, destroyed the Romulan ship, and then sent everybody back home. And you never hear from the ship ever again, or the telepath.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. It's
very weird. But the ship wanted to commit suicide, so somehow there had to be some symbiotic relationship there that the ship also probably got its sustenance from having creatures inside of it.
Well, according to this one absorbed it from the sun, but I think it needed humans for companionship more than anything else. But
that's why it wanted to commit suicide. All of its humans died all at once, or all of its space aliens.
So you also mentioned earlier something about how there were multiple floors. There, it's been said that there's multiple stories or floors within each, or within, say, one specific one, right? And one floor could house 100,000. How many?
Easy. Since we don't know how many floors we don't know how many people's actually.
Well, see, I'm thinking about like the metropolitan area that I currently reside in is not that big, right? But altogether in this general area, there's between 450 to 500,000, and it's just growing. And
I would imagine the gray ship is bigger than Chicago easily. It's and there's what, 5 million people in Chicago,
right? So if you could fit millions and millions of people within a certain radius or whatever, I mean, how would you say? I've met people around here that have never left, say, the Quad Cities. They were born and raised here. They've never, went on vacation to a different country, or they never went on a road trip. They never seen the Grand Canyon or the ocean even. And so, for people that have, say there's people on these ships, and how would they know that they were even on a ship? Well, you know what I mean? Like, how would they? Well,
some of them wouldn't. Some of them would just think they were in a building. I've actually heard people say that before.
Yeah.
They thought they were just in a building. They didn't know, had no idea they weren't.
Well, and like you said, the rooms are adaptive to what you want it to be. So if you walk in the room and say, "I wish I was on the beach at, name a famous beach," boom, your room would turn into that famous beach.
It's just, and they have hologram rooms on there and stuff like that. So if you want to do something bigger or wider, you can. So it's an interesting thing. So let's look at it at a different point of view. How far can the human eye actually see? 2 miles, 5 miles, 7 miles? How long can it see? I have to look it up to be sure.
I think it's 5.
So
Hey Google, how far can the human eye see?
So this gives you an idea how
On
big
the
this
website
graph
is
is.
totalvision.com, they say, the range of the human eye. A healthy human eye with 20/20 vision can usually see at a distance of up to 3 miles or so. This
Yeah, I
doesn't
was going to say 3.
beyond this distance.
So you're standing in the middle of this ship and you're looking up and down. You can't see top and bottom.
By the naked
You
eye.
know it's more than 3
However,
miles up and 3 miles down. So you know that you can see at least 6 miles up and down, but you can't see the bottom or the top. So how big is this thing? It's so we already know it's at least 6 miles tall. So how tall is it really?
Like, could it be as big as the planet Earth?
No, it's not as big as Earth.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they said in any of the sci-fi movies, but how many people are on board either of the 2 Death Stars? I mean, it was the size of a moon.
I don't think they've
So
ever said
it had to have been millions of people, perhaps even 10s or 20 million people.
I would imagine if you went and looked it up somewhere, like they do the manuals for Star Trek, I bet you there's a Star Wars manual somewhere.
Let's see.
But in this case, I mean, you're talking ships that are probably at least 10 miles tall or taller, and maybe 20. We don't know how wide they are because people say you can walk forever and not get to the other side. That's why they walk into the thing and they push themselves across to the other side and let the air bring them across. That's why they do it that way. Because if they had to walk around, it would take them forever. I never really heard anything about tram systems. It seems like you can move in different ways aboard these ships. So, Christopher, I don't know if there's an elevator system. I really don't. Not at least the way we think. You know what? If they got an elevator system, it's going to be more like the Star Trek elevator system, which can go up and down, side to side, angled. So you don't really notice it. But when a starship or one of their bases are built, inside of them, there's tubes that go all over the place. That's for the system that moves you around. Because when you're not just going up and down when you're in a starship, and you're not just going forward and backwards, you're actually moving in other ways. How are you doing? Well, that's technology that we talk about. When we get talking about aliens, it could be far more advanced than that.
I have a question.
What's up?
So about aliens, right? Okay, so sometimes I think about size ratio and okay, say a tiny little ant compared to a human body, right? Are there beings in outer space with as vast and as large as outer space is that could equal that same ratio of like a human being the ant, and there's a being out there that is as large as a human is to an ant to us?
Well, yeah, they're going to be all size of beings because it has more to do with where you come from on a planet. So if you were born on Mars, you would be taller than us naturally. You'd be thinner than we are. You'd probably have cartilage instead of bones, but you would probably be on average 7 to 9 feet tall because of the lack of gravity there.
Yeah.
I'm talking like hundreds of times bigger. Like,
if you're on a planet, if you're on a planet that's say 100 times the size of Earth, or its gravity is 100 G's, then whatever's there is going to probably be pretty big just in order to survive those 100 G's. Or if you're on a planet where there's virtually no gravity, but it's a large planet, you can see it's really going to dictate. What's going to dictate the size of the being is going to be the planet they come from.
Well, and oxygen
gravity. Well, if they're oxygen, because it could be some other type, they might breathe something.
Well, whatever gases they might inhale, there has to be some of the speculation of why the dinosaurs started to get smaller and smaller is because the oxygen levels in the atmosphere were dwindling.
Which makes no sense because they should have been the highest they've ever been on the planet.
They were, but they've dwindled allegedly from that atmosphere to what we have today.
Oh, speaking of that, they found a secondary asteroid now. That's what they think is what finally wiped out the dinosaurs. They found another Yeah, in the same time frame. I think it came in roughly around the time that one did, just in a different part of the world.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's not highly impossible.
No, we see
We
before.
travel through 2 or 3 different meteorite zones that directly impact the Earth every year. I mean, we go through a shotgun shooting gallery 3 times a year.
We watch the Shoemaker-Levy comet smack into Jupiter.
Yeah.
It was just a string of them that came in, bam, 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 bam,
Yeah,
bam,
like
bam.
13 of them or something like that. Yeah.
Enough impacts bigger than the damn red spot on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
By the
Most
way,
of them are gone now, though.
yeah, well, they are. By the way, people, if something hit us that made bigger red spot than Jupiter, red spot's 3 times the size of Earth, so we would be dust.
Yeah.
We'd be dust. It'd be like when the moon hit us and everything got molten lava again. Yes, we would be dust. Yeah, well, at one point, however it came, there's so many arguments about how the moon actually got here.
Yeah, and again, arguments due to the show. It may be one of those motherships. There are stories when it was never here.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The moon is weird because there are ancient world stories that say it was here, like it came in and parked itself later on. But they do think it's from Earth because when they check the materials, it's identical to Earth. But come to think about it, I would imagine most of the material in our solar system is identical to Earth. I bet you if you go out to the asteroid belt, a lot of the minerals and stuff you're going to find out there is the same thing you find here. We all came from the same star.
Isn't there one that's all gold? Hello?
Yeah. Gold, and it's gold.
They found one that was antimony or platinum?
It was one they found that was like 3 different metals. And it's the one that they say if you combined all the wealth on the planet 100,000 times, it would still not equal up to that one asteroid.
Wow.
That's insane. I mean, that is Elon Musk is going to go get that one. That's why he said he's going to be the first trillionaire, because he's going to probably be the one that goes and captures it. Because
he's going to need it to fund his little Mars venture.
What about Elon? I like Elon. I don't care who he likes for politics. I like Elon. Well, it's his right if he wants to be a Trumper. That's up to him. I mean, he is the richest man on the planet. He just, that he's, that's who he backs. What do you mean he's a woman hater? Well, you know what? Save that for Friday. Yeah, save that for Friday. I don't think he's a woman hater. He might be, we're not going to talk
How many kids does he have? 15?
He's got a bunch.
14.
I know he had 10, and then he said he was going to go have some more.
It's either 11 or 14. He's got a lot of kids.
I know at one point he had 11, but I thought he wouldn't have had some more since then. He doesn't make it public. And as far as I know, only one of his kids don't like him. It's one of his daughters, and I think she identifies as LGBTQ or something.
Well, no, it was the reason that whole from what I've learned is that child was born a cisgendered or cis male, okay, and according to Elon Musk, he was convinced that the right thing to do was put him on puberty blockers, and eventually that child grew up and became a transgender, and therefore that's why he said he lost a son, and that's why, like, he said something about how they killed his son, but that son became who now identifies, I think it's Vivian or something like that is the name, but is a woman, like a female completely, like looks like one, sounds like one, and it, like, it, for all intents and purposes is. So he feels
the one I seen was definitely female, or
anyway. Well, that the one that hates him and talks about how he's such a horrible dad was born supposedly was born male.
What's that, Chris? I don't know. That's why we're talking about it right now. I don't know what the real story is. No, Leah's putting up a pretty good. I don't know. Oh, he currently has 12 kids, by the way. It's just going up on my screen. You see, we're talking about this. I hadn't even typed to this question. I was looking for something else, and this comes up on my screen. I'm getting a little aware with these computers are getting a little too friendly.
A little?
I mean, it just seems like they're a little too in my business.
Hey, good news though. Taco Bell brought back the double decker.
Nice.
Just saying.
Well, you know what, Jimmy? This week,
Thanks to social media, we
on this Friday show, I'll play what Elon's kids have to say about it. Well, a lot of his kids are grown now.
Not all roses, huh?
I mean, if I was alive, right, and my father was saying, "Oh, my son was killed," or "My son died," and refused to, recognize me for who I believed myself to be, I would feel like, I've been disowned in a way. Like,
I don't think that's what actually happened. So when the news carried it, she was being very aggressive about whatever it was. She was being very aggressive.
I know I've seen some of
And
the.
it sounded
the
more.
tweets or
It sounded
whatever.
more like her mom put her up this than her, because the mom kept interjecting into the middle of the conversation. And now I see why Eli dumped her ass, because that woman just was nonstop. It's what's that, Jimmy? He's got 12 kids now. He just had another one recently, but
With the Grimes lady.
I don't know. I know. Well, the grunge girl. He surrogated his kids, by the way.
She didn't have the pregnancy.
It was her eggs and his sperm, but somebody else carried them. And by the way, come to find out, this is a thing amongst rich people, and they will put a thing underneath their thing to act like they're pregnant, but they're not actually carrying the kid. There's been several stars that have been busted for this lately.
Yep.
And rich people.
Wow.
Well, I mean.
So do you think that it's like a paid thing? Do you think that like they're like, hey, we're gonna hook you up with this person that you're gonna have to like procreate with? You have your choice. You can either like do it naturally and she can have the baby, or like we'll pay somebody else to be the oven, but you all have to like do this, or we're gonna cut you off, or something like that.
No, I imagine
set up like arranged marriages.
No, I imagine Elon just hires a surrogate, and the wife approves, and they just do it that way. I mean, surrogates get paid good money, and I imagine Elon's get paid even better, so they'll keep silent. A good surrogate will make anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000 for carrying a baby, depending on who you're.
No, what I'm saying is, like, do you think the relationship itself between Elon Musk and whoever the mother is a legit relationship, or do you think that it's like an arranged relationship?
No, it's a legit relationship. Matter of fact, his friends talk about his choice in women, which is funny as hell, by the way. Which we'll talk about that on Friday, but they talk about his choice in women. Most people didn't even realize for a long time Elon didn't even stay at his own house. He just stayed with his friends and stuff. He was like a billionaire bum.
Well,
I don't know how you can be a bum when you're a billionaire, but obviously
people do it. I know that for a fact.
Howard Hughes did it. Howard Hughes would actually dress up like a homeless person who would stay out in the streets and collecting until he got the smell. And then he would go around and ask people for $10. If that person gave him $10, he'd say, write your contact information on this money and I'll send you $10,000. And the guy's like, yeah, sure, whatever. They, write their address. And he would send that person $10,000.
It's strange the way things go on.
The rich people are strange, really strange.
Yeah, it's a whole different reality.
That's why rich people can do what the hell they want to do. What's that, Jackie? Oh, I was talking about that earlier. So, what is it? I was invited to come hang out with Jay and Jeff and Jess Woman. They're doing a thing to Betty Page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Betty Page show.
Yeah, so I'm gonna come hang out with them whatever night that is. That just makes a long night for me and Jay. But
it's not this Friday. I think it's the following Friday. This Friday, our guest actually canceled. It was going to be on Jim Morrison and the Doors, but he had a scheduling problem.
No. We're talking about the Church of Mavis, and Church of Mavis is a variety show. Jeff does a lot of different stuff. Yeah.
So I saw one of the other advertisements, like the preview for one of the shows, and it looked like a spiritual advisor who has his belief system based in Catholicism. What was that one?
That might have been the father guy on Friday. I can't remember his name right now, but Father Sean or something. I think on Friday.
Something like that.
And we play his intro with our commercials. Matter of fact, well, we ain't gonna take a break now. 'Cause, damn, we're already at 18 minutes to 8. We ain't even talked about anything. Damn. We may have to make Michelle give us an hour of her show, man. Damn.
We did it already once without asking.
What's that, Dean? Oh no, we're not. No. I was teasing you. We're not taking Michelle's. Shit, Michelle, get my ass. No, it ain't gonna happen. What is that, Randy? You can listen to the station live when we're not on. Matter of fact, there are 40 people listening live right now on just a regular station, not to us on the station. That's on YouTube. Yeah, you can listen to us all the time on YouTube live. Well, sort of live. Yes.
Well, and in archives, yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy, to answer your question, the reptilian ships are much different when you hear people talk about them. There does seem to be a lot of vegetation on board all over the place in the hallways. They don't have an arboretum like the other ship does, but everywhere you go, there seems to be some type of vegetation growing. Matter of fact, it reminds me of an episode of Enterprise where they were growing the food on the wall. So it sounds like that because they say reptilians will eat it. Sometimes the humans will. It's some type of vegetation they can eat. Oh no, I don't think the reptilians are.
Well, it might not, and it might not be. It might not be a plant. It might be. Some speculate that way back when the Jews were wandering the desert, that they had a machine called the manna machine, which was powered by chlorella, which is a type of algae. So maybe it's an algae that not only produces like thousands of oxygen molecules more than any regular plant, but is also edible. Allegedly, it can be turned into like wafers, like the kind you might see at Eucharist in Christian churches, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't pretend to know what it is. All I just know is when you listen to people talk about the different things. The ships sound really advanced, much more than anything. They do sound like something out of one of our sci-fi movies. They even sound more advanced than what we have in our sci-fi movies. They really, really do. What do you mean the light beam ship? The light beams don't need ships. Light beams can travel through time and space with thought. So let's say they're wherever. Let's say they're on Earth and they want to go halfway across the galaxy. They do it in a thought. It takes nothing but seconds. Yep. They can create and destroy by thought. They can create worlds, humans, beings by thought.
They're almost like
they're pure energy beings. All right, what we got here, guys?
Are they eternal beings?
Are the cops getting Leah?
No.
I don't know.
It sounded like the cops was getting you, Leah.
Are the light beings immortal?
I guess in the way we think of immortal, yes. They've been around long enough that they came to this galaxy from a dying galaxy. Matter of fact, from the way it's explained, they left a dead galaxy to come here. And that trip did take time because it doesn't sound like there's a galaxy nearby.
Can they manifest into a physical form? Or
yes.
are they just
great pain, allegedly?
Yes, they can. They just don't like doing it because it takes a lot of energy to hold a human form.
But is there not speculation that that they didn't leave another galaxy, that their galaxy was absorbed by ours?
No, I heard that too, and I wondered if that was true. But when the Greys talk about it, the Greys say it was a long distance trip for even them, would suggest it was 4,000 light years or more away. So, by the way, guys, while we're talking about this is all speculation. Okay, none of what we're saying we know is gospel truth or anything along those lines. Leah, when you go to talk, you're on mute, so remember that. It's hard to say. I mean, we're going by what contactees tell us about
It's from years of research. I mean, I've been looking at it since I was like 11. I'm 58.
So
do the math for me. It's a long time.
It just seems like we are eating, Jackie. We are eating a lot of galaxies. I mean, the biggest one we're eating right now is the Sagittarius galaxy, but I think we're eating 5 right now. Yeah, our galaxy is eating 5. Plus, they recently found out that Andromeda we're already as a galaxy starting to feel the effects of Andromeda eating us. Yes, they just recently, James Webb just found that.
What are the symptoms of that? Like, how would we know? What are the signs?
Radiation
Doppler.
waves? Yeah,
It's called Doppler
yeah.
shift.
You got the Doppler shift. You got different kind of radiation in our galaxy that's not from here. It's from Andromeda. It's slowly moving. Like I said, one of these days,
And how far away is it's what 4 miles, 4 light years away?
what,
Galaxy?
Andromeda?
Yeah.
No, Andromeda's like 1 billion light years or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's way the hell away. That's why we didn't think we were going to experience anything yet. That's why it was such a big deal. Because the way I heard it would be because the two are moving towards each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jimmy, no. So it's like two cars traveling at 50 miles an hour each way. It's actually a 100-mile collision. No, because
Right.
This one's doing 50, this one's doing 50. When they hit each other, it's 100 miles. So that one's moving at however fast it's going. Ours is moving. So we're doubling how fast we get to each other. If only one of us was moving, it would take a lot longer. But since both of us are moving towards each other, it won't take as long. But it's still forecast. I mean, I'd have to check. The last forecast I heard was like 1 billion years. So
Yeah.
well, maybe it's going to be sooner. I mean, that's what James Webb seems to be predicting, that it might be sooner. But what is sooner in something so far away? 100 million years? I mean, what the hell is sooner? I don't know.
I think we'll still be gone. We'll be dead by the time that happens.
Oh yeah, we'll be dead and reborn a freaking million times before this happens. Can Earth survive it? Earth can survive it. Will it survive it? I don't know, but it can survive it. So what happens is it sucks all of us into theirs. Eventually, we get caught up in their matter and start moving in the same streams as they're moving. And eventually we find our place. Now, in that time, we may collide with stuff and we may not. You just don't know. If we're picked up into empty space like where we live now, we'll probably be all right. If we have,
it's going to be like swimming through a bunch of shotgun blasts of all kinds of pebble-sized to planet-sized shit where we'll go through. It might not be very fun.
It won't matter how many places we colonize in our own galaxy, because the whole galaxy is going to be eaten. We'd have to leave the galaxy to be safe, which that's a technology we'll eventually invent. Not anytime soon, but traveling. Well, I mean,
if we were on the level of the light beings, I'd say we would be okay from a galactic collision. If we're at the level of the grays and anyone down from that, I think we'd be doomed. Even with their technology.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, guys. I mean, we don't know until it happens. We don't know. Well, we are learning because we're eating the Sagittarius galaxy. And we did see that's another problem. So about 10 years ago, a theory came out that Earth was from the Sagittarius galaxy, not from the Milky Way. And the reason they said that is, one, the planet was getting warmer. Well, everybody says that's global warming. Well, come to find out, Earth is in the middle of a bunch of red dwarfs. Red dwarfs give off a lot of heat. And we're in the middle of them. Well, all these red dwarfs that we're in the center of came from the Sagittarius galaxy. So they're trying to figure out how we were here without being collided by them unless we came with them. They said if we were all moving in one piece, they could understand how we survived. But if we were sitting still and all of these were coming in, it would be a miracle that we survived.
Right.
But still, there's a big argument. Half the people say we're from the Sagittarius. Half the people say we're not. And I don't have the skills to tell you either way, because I don't know, and I don't think they know either. It's just a big argument.
You'd have to find something that you knew was from another galaxy, and compared to something you know was from this galaxy, and you'd have to compare them in spectrographs.
Yeah. Well, Rocky, I'm not sure if I'm not sure how that's going to work. All I can tell you is, as time progresses, the sky is going to get much bigger, much cloudier, and much stranger looking as we get closer to the galaxy. Is it the closest galaxy to us? It may be. I don't know. In the grand scheme of galaxies,
it is the closest to us. Yeah.
Yes. In the grand scheme of galaxies, this is like a spit across the street. See, humans think of time like in space, but when you're traveling in space, you can't think that way. You have to have engines that can move you 1 billion light years in a matter of days or weeks or months. But we'll get there. Give us time. Light speed is real, and it is something we will invent. So don't believe all that bullshit that light speed's impossible.
Let me correct you there. It's not something we'll invent. It's something we'll be able to achieve.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
It's a natural, like the sound barrier. Everyone thought we couldn't achieve it. We're now we have things that go 6, 7, 8 times.
Yeah, I
the sun
remember.
barrier.
What was it,
But
the
the light is already there. I mean, it's being made by natural objects, so and that gives us the law that we can go at least that fast. We can at least go 186,000 miles per second.
Yeah. So so to help y'all guys, so we do know you can go faster and slower than light speed now. And this was by sheer accident. One of the probes we sent to go look at one of the moons around Jupiter, as it was passing Jupiter, it noticed the light was being grabbed. And as it approached Jupiter, it was being pulled and actually sped up faster than light speed. And as it was shot past Jupiter, it was still faster than light speed. And then it dropped off below light speed before it stabilized and went back to light speed. This is naturally occurring. So if it occurs naturally, that means we can reproduce it. Now, how much faster it was going, I couldn't tell you, but it definitely went faster than light speed. And don't forget, thanks to the Brits, we are now have teleportation. Not, before anybody writes to me, it's not teleportation like Star Trek is, not yet. But we can teleport information up to, I think it's 10 miles now or more. Just information data. We can teleport, just boom, boom, and it's there. It's not like sending it through a fiber optic connection. It's not the same thing.
There's also the I think they're in France. They've been able to teleport a light photon, an actual physical particle, from one box to another within a room. And then recently, was it earlier this year or the end of last year? It was just not long ago. They announced that they were able to teleport a light photon from one corner of Paris to the other, like across the city, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, which they just recently, the Brits said they can teleport stuff to Australia now. Well, we're not talking about give it time, guys. In 50 years, they'll be able to teleport food and clothing all that around the world. So think about this. We're all worried about global warming. We should be working on teleportation, because if we have teleportation, we don't need ships anymore. We don't need trains anymore. We don't need 18-wheelers anymore. We'll probably be out of job, but it's we won't need any of that, because and in cars is true, because if you got teleportation, it's like if you watch like Star Trek or any of that higher sci-fis, you'll notice they want to go to lunch for Paris. They just pop over there and have lunch in Paris. They want to go to Moscow. They want to go everywhere. They just walk into the transporter.
The unreal thing about Star Trek is the transporter apparently didn't, even in the 23rd and 24th century, didn't kill personal vehicles. Everyone has a space shuttle. You can go to the moon and back or whatever. But
because people like us, I'm going to want my own little ship, so I can go cruising around in the solar system. I might want to smoke some ganja. You can't really smoke ganja when you're in a teleport, you know. You light it when you get to that other place, it's still lit. Yeah. But you haven't hit it yet. No, I don't know.
Right. You get on the telepad, you get your hooter out, and you get your lighter ready, and you're like, all right, energize. And when you materialize wherever, you light up and go.
It's going to change the way we look at. It's going to change the way our planet exists. And pretty soon we'll be able to teleport to the moon and Mars and places like that. So we won't even we'll still need spaceships for deeper space travel and probably out into the deeper solar system. But
not according to the alternate timeline Montgomery Scott, who speculates that you can teleport anything anywhere in the galaxy that you want.
He speculated that. He speculated that in regular Star Trek too, in one of the movies. I didn't know that. Yeah, I think that's why they brought it up in the other movie. Because if you remember, Spock says, "No, you're the Montgomery Scott that postulated this, and this," and he wasn't from that time.
Yeah.
The other one. But anyway, guys, all these things will change. The technologies we talk about with the aliens will change this planet in major ways, and we are changing. It's just every time we seem to be going, somebody goes, and you're like, "What the," and. Now, that's another thing would be good for teleports. We could just beam people like Putin off the planet and Kim Jong-un and say, "Oh, guess what? We have a special place for you on Mars."
Well, but also if you realize for any technology, there's always a foil. So why did the Knights stop wearing metal armor? Because they invented a sword called the rapier, and the rapier made their armor obsolete.
Plus, it was freaking heavy.
Right. Plus, it's freaking heavy. I mean, you're talking about most armor that Knights wore would be about 60 to 80 pounds. But without that, you have to think in the same terms.
Well, when I was 15, I had the pleasure of putting on what they call light armor, horse armor, which is full body armor.
Yeah.
So I got on the scale. At the time, I was 160 pounds. So when I got on the scale, it would only go up to 300, and it stopped there. The guy said, with me and the thing, it was probably around 400 pounds. I was like, Jesus, man. And this was considered light armor. Now, whoever invented, what was it, Mithril? What was the chainmail called? Yes, it was. Well, no, I was calling it by its elf name. Sorry, guys. But yes, it's just with the. Anyway, we're not going to go there. Don't worry about it. It's interesting stuff, and it did help out. It could stop a pipe. It was interesting.
It's a good thing you brought up that point. So chainmail was one of the precursors to plate armor, which is what you just described.
Yeah.
Why did they stop wearing that? Well, they designed a foil for it. A weapon to defeat it, and that weapon was very, very pointy arrows.
Yeah.
To go through the ring.
Yeah. Originally, it was designed for pikes, but somebody came up with. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with hunting arrows. Hunting arrows have razor sharp edges on them. There's usually seven edges on them, and they're razor sharp, and they will easily, like if you put up a piece of steel, they'd easily cut into it. They could embed themselves into a steel plate. That's how sharp they are. So in a deer, I've actually shot one and watched it go all the way through the deer. It was only at 90 yards, and I was using a crossbow, but still, it went through the deer, broke the bone, and went through the deer. Oh, shut up, Jimmy. I used to hunt when I was young. That's all I can tell you. I don't anymore. I feel sorry for Bambi.
So, but the point is that whatever technology is out there, there's something to defeat it.
Usually
So guys like Putin and I'm sure Trump and Kamala and all them would have a device on them that prevents them from being beamed out of anywhere. So
Jimmy said, you're right most of the time. He said, but no one's come up with a defeat for the F-22 yet. I was like, that's a good cop, but the operative word there was yet.
Yeah, it's on the way. I mean, the plate mail came out, and it was a while before when the plate mail came out, it was they were still using swords. That's when you start seeing like battle axes and hammers and stuff, because that's what hurts the plate armor.
Yeah. So all this we're talking about. So now think about it from an extraterrestrial point of view. They probably went through all of this at one time or another, or something along these lines. I mean, I'm not now from what I've been
technology we've had, they had billions of years ago.
Yeah, but from what I've been told about the Greys, they've always been a united society. That gives them a much bigger advantage over us.
Well, they're of a hive mind. They have their minds connected away.
But it's not just them. The reptilians too were from one society. They were tribes, but they all came from one society. So that gives you a big advantage. So if think about humans without like the Middle Ages, without the Inquisitions, without when we went ranging across the Middle East, without the burning of Alexandria, we would be, according to our own science, we'd be 1,500 years more advanced than we are today. I can't even. When I was 20, I couldn't imagine what 2024 was going to be like. You would have never told me. I mean, the telephone.
I kind of knew.
Telephone is a freaking mini computer.
I kind of knew that we were going to have sort of Star Trek-y like technologies before the time I died, and we're almost there.
Well, we're getting better and better on our types of technology, but we have so far to go. And remember, guys, us, meaning Americans, are 75 years on average behind it, 45 to 75, depending on what it is, behind our government. Yes. So when I was in the Navy, and I think this isn't classified anymore. So when I was in the Navy working on board in the conning tower and on the jets and in the reactor room, we had microchips. Now this was 83. Okay, 82, 83, 84, 85, I think. Microchips, like you see today, microchips. Yep. Okay, now according to today, microchips weren't invented yet. Not those kind of microchips anyway. And some of them were dual cores. I mean, I didn't see a dual core until, 15 years ago, 18 years ago? Yeah. I mean, in public. So that puts it 35 years ahead of anything that was out there. And they had plug-and-play boards, which was one of the biggest innovations the Navy ever came up with, and Air Force using them now. So instead of trying to go change out a resistor or a diode or something on the board, you just take
a vacuum tube.
Yep. Take the old board, and everything we use was solid state. But still, we take the old board out, plug the new board in, hit the little button on it. It would communicate with the jet or whatever it was using, and boom, it was fully operational. It would take minutes instead of hours, because I remember the first time I ever had to work on a microchip board. Man, just changing 2 or 3 resistors in a diode took 2 hours. You had to diagnose to find out what exactly the problem was.
Yeah, which ones you had to replace.
And a lot of times you'd find 2 and you replace them, then you'd still find another problem again when you retested it. If a board got too hot or too much electricity, you don't tell them it was burned out. And sometimes we would just trash them because when they get to certain points, we didn't want to put our pilots in jeopardy or any missions in jeopardy because we use crappy parts.
Right.
And I will tell you this, them boards are a little thicker than what we use in our computers today and a little more sturdy than what we use in our computers today, but they were microchips.
Computers back then were like they took up rooms.
Yes, but these
in the civilian quarter, they took up rooms in some places.
Yeah, they did. Well, when I first joined the Navy, the first place they ever sent me to work on anything was the AFI station in New Orleans. So the AFI station was 7 stories tall, and I don't know, 2 blocks wide. The whole building was a computer. This is where the Navy keeps all of its military, not just the Navy, the whole entire military keeps all of their military records. On their soldiers. That's where they keep it at. Well, this was old school. They still had punch cords. You wanted to work on something, you had to take up the floor or the ceiling to get to what you had to work on.
Yeah.
We had punch cards. We still had reel-to-reels. And I remember one of the first jobs I ever did was to modernize one of the floors. We went and gutted the whole place out, took all of that crap out, and went back with desktop computers and a main server. First off, the place was like 30 degrees cooler. It was ridiculous how much cooler it was. And their imaginary electric bill went down. And then they did all 7 floors eventually. And then Katrina came and wiped them all out after the remodel. I know, ain't that a bitch? It's just part of what goes on. But that technology was so much more advanced than what we had at 83. Come on, guys. Did y'all get on the internet at 83? No, you didn't. Did you even have a desktop?
It did not go public until 1996, 13 years later.
And then you were on Windows 3.0 if you were lucky.
Yeah, and the internet that we actually are using was started by, it began as ARPA, Advanced Research Project.
You know damn good and well Al Gore has invented the internet.
Al Gore's full of shit. But no, and then in 1957, and then in 1958 they changed the name to DARPA, and in 1958, one of the first things that what we now know is email. The first thing was sent from California to New Jersey.
And did y'all know, guys, when I was in the service, we had internet.
Yep.
All the ships communicated. We had wireless and wired internet. Way back then, we had it. And we didn't see it for almost 20 years after I got out of service. I was so aggravated when I got out of service. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Was it instant?
Yeah.
What, like the message from California to New Jersey? Was it an instant message?
It's what became email.
Yeah, it became email.
Instant messaging would come years later.
No, but was it sent and received within a moment?
Yeah, It was sent. I think it was sent from Caltech to Yale, and it was Yale's in not in New Jersey. But anyway, it was West Coast, East Coast, and it was sent by telephone modem, like the old kind. I don't know. Lee probably is too young for this, but you had to dial. You put your phone in an actual device, and it would dial. Yeah, and then we go.
Not too young, too poor.
Yeah.
The V96 modem was the most advanced modem I think they ever came out with. It was still piece of crap. That's back when I had net zero. People don't even ask. I mean, some of the stuff that went on back then. So when you went to log into a computer back then, it was a half an hour affair. First, you had to get the modem to get logged in. And it didn't always log in right away.
Yes.
And then you had to get the computer to
stuck and keep going. You're making that noise repeatedly.
So if I play Jeopardy on a computer today or on my phone or pad or whatever the hell I might be playing on, it's like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Back in the day, man, it was like you do, or like Wheel of Fortune, the wheel would go
or not go at all.
And stop, and then it would sit there and spin, and then the little thing would come up. It was ridiculous. I don't even know how we did it.
I didn't have access to the internet until I was in foster care.
It's a lot of people didn't have access to the internet because it wasn't around until the mid 90s.
Yeah, 1996 is when it first came out. My roommate was set it up. That was the first time. It was sometime in '96. I don't remember the month, but
Yeah, that's back when colleges had T lines.
Yeah, and all you had was AOL.
Yeah, there was T1, T2, and T3. T3 at the time was military, but
T-line.
yeah, just so y'all know, people, T3 today is smoking slow compared to what we all use today. T1 was 1 gig up and down. Yes, it's not like you're thinking a gig and bandwidth. That's not what it was. It was way slower than what we're using today. So a regular computer today with a 500 gig download connection and a 20 gig upload connection was probably faster than any T line that was invented at the time. Plus, everything is wireless today. Not just wireless, but it's friendly connections. You don't even need to know how a computer works to get shit to connect to each other. I remember when hooking up a printer was a freaking job.
Yeah.
Now you just plug it in, hit go, and click. It does everything on its own.
You don't have to. The only wire you plug in is the power wire.
Yeah, I mean, and the cord go. Well, no, because some of them are wireless. I forgot. Yeah,
They're
some
all
of them are
Bluetooth now. I just got my newest printer is a Canon G series, I think, or whatever. But it has pour in ink rather than I don't have to go buy cartridges. I just buy a pint of whatever color I need, and all I did was turn it on, plug it in, and it talked to my computer. Do you want to install this? I was like, yes, I do. Boom, hands free.
Yeah, it's definitely a different world than it was just 30 years ago, which is cool.
Yeah,
That-
a printer took
really
like 3 or
is.
4 cables to
if you ever want to see something funny, go back to the 1900s World Fair and then look at today. First off, we don't have no flying cars.
Nope.
But 100 years, 124 years, and still no flying cars. We're getting closer. But
There are some that have minor working examples, but nothing that's been mass produced.
No, Jimmy, I want my damn flying car. I'm just telling you.
I want my Jetsons car that folds up into a suitcase, so you don't have to find a goddamn parking space. Pardon my French.
I want to live in a place where I hit the button and the building goes up through the clouds so I can have a pretty day.
Yeah.
Well, it can't work like that because you might piss off all your neighbors because they might like the rain.
Yeah.
I know, but it was still interesting. The robot thing. So think about the robot and the Jetsons. It was pretty old school. Elon, in case you didn't know this, Elon Musk is offering robots to buy for cleaning your house and doing other manual labor.
Huh.
Yes. He said eventually they'll look just like us, but these are actually being designed not to look like us. So they're working robots. Yeah, he said, and they look pretty cool.
How much are they running?
I thought it was only like $20,000. And I'd have to go look to be. Just seen it the other day with Linda, but I'd have to go look and see exactly what it is. What's that, Frankie? No, all this stuff is fabulous. I mean, these technologies are great. I will say this: that the guy who invented AI says he wished he would have never invented it.
That's too late. Genie's out of the bag.
Just like when Einstein told him how to build a bomb and then built it. No, Mike. Einstein did not build the bomb. He may have invented the technology to build a bomb, but he had nothing to do with building it.
No, that was Werner von Braun.
Yeah, and what's his name? What was the other one's name?
Oppenheimer.
They just made a movie about him. Yeah,
Oppenheimer.
Yeah. No, for some reason, Einstein knew what was coming. He knew. The man was brilliant. And to think he was a damn mail clerk. But yeah, that's what he was doing. Yeah, patent clerk. I'm sorry. That's what he was doing for a living before.
What did he do?
Hasn't anyone seen Ghostbusters? Dan Aykroyd says Einstein was a patent clerk. That's where he did his best work.
Yes, and he was still in Germany, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was born in Austria, but grew up in Germany.
Yeah. What's that, Denis? No, really. No, I'm serious. He didn't. People always give him the credit for building the bomb, but he didn't build. He just came up with the ideas.
He fixed the formula to make the plutonium. I think that's.
But he also explained to him how to split the atom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes. Well, without splitting the atom, you couldn't have a nuclear fusion, whichever one it is. I don't know why I can't keep fission and fusion straight in my head. Well, no, one is much better than the other one.
So the sun is fusion reactor. The bombs that we have currently are fission reactors. Fission cuts or splits the molecules. Fusion takes molecules and fuses them into one.
No, the because fusion, when we talk about it, like cold fusion, is energy you can use that really doesn't produce anything. It doesn't create a bunch of radiation. It doesn't make anything harmless. You can make a reactor about this big that could work your car, your house, your boat. You can make it interchangeable where you could keep one and just put it in place. You can buy like 3 or 4 of them and have power anywhere you go all the time. They're probably good for a couple thousand years. One about the size of an 18-wheeler would easily power New York. They're building 2 right now. 2 the size of 2 18-wheelers that'll be able to power New York for the next 200 years. It's great. Things like these will change the world. We're all bent up on
well, that's why we're in such economic distress. Is the energy level we have, the energy that this planet needs, is too expensive. People are charging too much.
It's too dirty. That's
and
the
it's
other
dirty.
problem. And so we need to come up with a way to go hydrogen. I don't know why they didn't go with hydrogen. Hydrogen's an easy way to create. We have all the technology for it. We know how it works. We can easily convert to hydrogen. You can even convert the gas-powered cars to hydrogen.
Look, we're working with the hydrogen cell batteries right now. The place where I work, all of our fork trucks, they took out the lead iron batteries that were rechargeable, and they put in hydrogen cell batteries, and we just plug in these 3 different things to push hydrogen gas into the battery so it has fuel. This battery, this motor, this device, this technology was invented in the 80s by this one dude, and Toyota, America, and OPEC paid him $1 billion for this technology, which is why Toyota was the first company to come out with a hydrogen cell fueled car. If we had taken that technology in 1982 or 3 when they bought it from that guy and produced engines from it, we probably would be off gasoline right now.
Yeah, well, I remember when Chevy and them were building them, and they were building the hydrogen highway in California, and then all of a sudden they quit.
Because OPEC, Toyota, and America quashed the technology.
But it didn't matter. They went from that to electric. I don't understand why they did that. They said, okay, we're not going to do hydrogen, we're going to do electric. And now all of a sudden,
does it have anything to do with the fact that electric is just probably a little easier to monetize than hydrogen?
Electric's harder to make. It's way more. So, matter of fact, we're going to talk about this on Friday, but they just came out and proved that electric cars have a bigger carbon footprint than gas cars do.
Well, I don't doubt that.
Well, you're doing what's easy to prove. You're doing more harm to the environment, and this is why. So when you build a gas car, it's going to either be built in Japan or the United States for the most part,
or hand built by hand in Europe. Yeah.
But I'm talking about most of the cars that we drive in the United States. Most of them are going to be built locally, and most of the parts are going to come in from Japan or locally. They're not going to be. So lithium, first you got to go strip mine a mountain somewhere, or dig a mine and strip mine it. And then you got to take that lithium. It's going to go to 4 places by ship before it's ever turned into a battery in Japan and then shipped to here. Just those 5 trips. Your car from Japan is going to make 1 trip from Japan to the United States. That's it. That one battery is going to make 5 sea voyages. 5.
And touch what? 80, didn't we talk about this before? Touch 85 countries in the process of making it into a battery.
It's not just that. Other things that a lot of the copper and stuff used in them now, and a bunch of other stuff is coming from Brazil and places like that. They're just not. They're coming from too many places to make them clean energy. And we already proved that windmills and solar panels are a waste. You build a solar panel, it lasts for about 3 years, and then you got to trash it. Well, solar panels are deadly to the environment, just like lithium batteries. That's another problem. Disposing of these. Have you ought to see some of these videos of these freaking lithium batteries exploding.
What about the windmills exploding? Have you seen that?
What? Wait, what? Say that again.
There's videos of those windmills that are in the country.
Oh, yeah, catching on fire.
The blades exploding and popping off.
They catch on fire all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is with them things. They're constantly catching on fire. And when you drive through like Texas and you see like 500 of the damn things, 250 of them not even working.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not a feasible technology yet. We've been trying to force this technology, and then on top of it, China's over there producing electric cars for half of what America and Japan can. Europe's actually putting tariffs on them because they're putting the car manufacturers in Europe out of business because China don't care. And it's so I don't know, but all I know is we need to switch to something that's better. It's better for our country. It's better for our environment. Hydrogen, and don't forget, hydrogen makes what? Clean water. Not just that, clean, drinkable water.
Potable water. That's
Right.
this is the same motor we're talking about. This guy invented in the 80s. It did two things actually. The technology he presented to Toyota or whatever. It created potable water, and its other exhaust was O3, ozone, which we need an ozone layer to keep certain radiations off of us.
See, that's what I mean, though. Like, wouldn't it make more sense for the people who are trying to make profit, all right, who don't care about the environment, they're just there to make money, to create a product that they can easily monetize? It's the same adages of people that, I don't know, believe that there's cures to cancer, right? But why would they give out the cure to cancer when it makes more money to just treat it indefinitely?
Exactly.
All right.
So a good example. Oh shit! But right before that, what were you saying about? Damn, I had a really good example. My brain just lost it.
So, I mean, if there's a vehicle out there that's creating potable water and is actually helping the environment, I feel like there's just
Oh, well,
the
okay,
problem
okay.
is.
This is the reason. So, number one, it was going to be so cheap that you wouldn't. I mean, right now I think it takes us $16 an hour or $16 a gallon to produce or get hydrogen fuel. But had they done this technology in the 80s, it would probably have replaced gasoline by now and would be much more clean and efficient. That's one thing. So there's so much of that product that it would make it basically free, like oxygen. So they can't put a meter on it. That's why they don't like that technology. The same thing they did with the electricity. They went with Edison, not Tesla, because Tesla's was going to be free for everybody. You can't put a meter on it. Edison's, you can put it through a meter and see, oh, this guy's used 20,000 hours or 20,000.
Exactly.
Boom.
So they're able to control the masses that way, control output, control, and while making money for it all.
If they can't put a meter on it and charge you for it, that's why you don't see that technology coming. That's part of this. Well, that's Friday thing, but that's part of the swamp that the corruption that's in governments all over the planet.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like the biggest problem is the fact that there's these people that are still in power who are money hungry and greedy, and they don't care about the environment. They don't care about the future that they're leaving for their children's children. Yep. And, it's just about how much money they're making, and that's it. So, I mean, once those people don't exist, or they're, I don't know. I don't want to say die off because of old age or something, but I feel like the more people.
Do you think that's going to change? Do you think that's going to change anything? Because we just teach our children.
I mean, I feel like there's a good chance. I think that's one of the battles of humanity is educating ourselves and educating our children and helping them live more, healthier, all around healthier lifestyles than what our predecessors were known for. That's kind of what, procreating is about, like teaching our children to do better than we did. So hopefully, as time progresses, there will be those who stand out in a crowd who are able to come up with inventions that help instead of are just there to make somebody money, but it's a really tough uphill battle. When I was just watching last night how our current younger generations are consuming online videos that are considered so-called brain rot, and that's what we have a whole generation of children that are being taught to just be non-thinkers. So it's gonna take a lot of work and a lot of education, really, of what not to do, because it's what's been proven to be the wrong way.
It is definitely different, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are also 22 minutes into Michelle's
we're,
show.
we're getting ready to get out of here. To everybody who joined in the chat room with us and everybody who was listening in the other chat room and on the messenger, thanks for coming by. We'll talk a little bit more about this next week. This Friday, a lot going on. 2 weeks from now, maybe 3 weeks from now, I'll set a set date up. We're going to do our show on who was the big boss, Jesus. So that ought to be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
People. So I'm announcing it on this show. I'll announce it on the Friday night show. But people, bring your information. Make sure it's factually correct. We're going to be just using stuff. We're not going to be using anything. We might talk about some stuff about. We're not going to be using Bible references as proof, though, because that's hearsay. Because the Bible was written by secondary. It wasn't written by Christ. It was written by other people. 200 years after his death.
Yeah, thousand years after.
I think it was 200 or 300 years, because the first Bible was, or the oldest Bible I can find is 800 A.D.
Okay.
What gets me is Jesus even his real name? Is that what his parents called him? Is that what his friends called him? Jesus?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've never heard anybody else named Jesus in the Middle East, so I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I've heard different.
Well, it would be something that's been bastardized through English to sound like Jesus or Jesus, but it's probably an I letter or something that's closer to Joseph.
Yeah, because that was his stepdad. His name was Joseph.
Yes.
Well, what about the name Yeshua?
Yes, yeah, that's one of them.
So, I mean, everyone who's out there praying in the name of Jesus, isn't that a misnomer?
No, because all the ancient world calls him Jesus. So one of the things we'll be talking about is, real quick.
But what if Jesus Christ himself came down and was like, "Who the heck is Jesus that you guys?"
Well, he wouldn't, because one of the emperors nearby in another country wrote to Jesus using that name and asked him to come cure him. The Romans called him Jesus, and at least the emperor and at least 4 or 5 other governors. There's actually, that's the thing nobody ever wants to talk about. There's actually quite a few writings about Jesus prior to him being named the Son of God.
So Jesus was a term that was used while he was alive. Like, Jesus was a name that he was called.
As far as we know, it might be his nickname. Like, my real name is Joseph, but everybody calls me Joe. And there are people in South America named Jesus, but it's Jesus. It's not Jesus. It's not how it's pronounced. It's pronounced Jesus. Just like my name.
There's also the movie with Samuel L. Jackson. His character's name is Zeus, and Bruce Willis mistakes him for being Jesus. He's like, no, it's not Jesus, it's Zeus. Like, throw a lightning bolt on your ass, Zeus.
Yeah, so I mean, stuff, but we'll have all that up available, and if any other names come up, we'll talk about those as well.
Cool.
What's that? No, bring your homework, do your homework, come to the show. Yeah. It'll probably only be the first hour because it's on News on the Flip Side. News on Flip Side's at least 3 hours. So, well, the only reason we're bringing it up is because a lot of people write to me about, the very religious people that write to me. Was it Christian? Well, no. So, real quick, 78% of Americans are Christian, but I think 86% or 88% are religious. It is not. Everybody always talks about we're not a religious country, but we're a very religious country. That's why it still says in God we trust on our money. Yeah. If we want a religious nation, that would already been taken off. Yes. It's just how it is. Well, some parties would like you to think that we're not, but we are still a religious nation. Oh, and here's an oddball fact for y'all. I was going to say it for Friday, but did you know Republicans, or I should say conservatives, donate all the donation in this country? 84% of donations that go to charities come from conservatives.
Wow.
Democrats donate less than 10%. And they're some of the richest people in the country.
Mm-hmm.
That's pathetic. I mean, that's pathetic.
Yeah.
Hey guys, look. I don't make these up. This is all stuff you can verify yourself. Don't ask me why. Well, a lot of conservatives are Christians. That's probably why.
Well, I feel like also a lot of Democrats are not. I don't know, but there's a lot that I've met actually who claim to be atheists, who are non-religious.
Agnostic, yes.
They're secular, and
Yes,
they don't want to contribute to those types of organizations, like any type of religious organization. So they're not going to donate stuff to churches because they don't believe in it.
That's right. But we're not talking about churches. We're talking about donating to the Red Cross, to charities, to places that save people's lives, to things that help people around the world. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the religious stuff. We're talking about just everyday things. Everyone should donate to the Red Cross. The Red Cross saves everybody's ass. FEMA, you don't donate to FEMA. Your taxes go to FEMA.
Where do you donate to the Red Cross? Like, I don't know anywhere around here where I could bring a box of clothes or like some food for a kid to the Red Cross.
Like down here, most of that stuff goes to the Salvation Army, not to the Red Cross. Red Cross, from my understanding, just usually takes money and volunteers. So you'll see down here, like stuff like what you were just talking about usually goes to the Salvation Army, and the Red Cross usually just gets cash. People can write them a check for 20, write them a check for 50. You can do it online. And,
so you're talking about monetary donations.
Yes, because there's two different kinds. So if you're a Salvation person, then you're getting all kind of donations. But if you're Red Cross, it's probably just money, because Red Cross really just goes in and helps people with food and places and stuff
I
like that.
see what you're saying.
Particularly during these hurricanes, they were requesting, rather than you buying supplies, donations, like the things that they would need to clean up the debris, they were asking for monetary. That way they can funnel the money quicker down there than moving physical objects that have been donated. So
now, on Friday,
yeah.
Don't forget about this on Friday. Mysterious drone fleet breaches U.S. military airspace for 17 days, baffling the Pentagon. We want to look this up and do some research on this. It says, Michelle sent it to me a little while ago. Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, 17 others. I don't know why our government would even allow something like this. We have the ability to shoot drones down, so. Yeah, so I'm not sure why we would do that. But anyway, we got to get out of here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and UFO Undercover. I hope you enjoyed the show. Drones, bitches, and complaint right to Leah's noisy butt.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
We're going to send them all out of Leah. No, we got to go, guys and girls. No more questions. Sorry, we got to go. But don't forget, Friday we'll be here talking about politics. By Friday, what is Friday? Is the 17th, 18th, right? So, what is that?
Yeah.
12, 13, it'd be 18 days to the election as of Friday. Yep. So we'll be talking a lot about that. By then, I think Camilla will have done her interview on Fox. We'll be talking about her interview she did on CBS, which was doctored, and CBS refuses to release the transcripts, which nobody, not even the liberal media, can understand this.
What do you think is going to be the outcome? Tell me what
she's not going to win. And she had her Fox interview tonight too, which
was it tonight? Okay.
The Fox interview was tonight with Brent, whatever his name is. But the blurb I saw about it was that it got heated over Biden and immigration.
Well, I imagine it did. So we'll hear about it. I imagine in a little while I'll start seeing things flashing across my screens here like I always do. But what's that, Jimmy? No, we gotta go. Go listen to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Go give them some love, give them some hugs. They work hard to be on the network. Oh, while we're on the Roku thing, before we go, y'all be looking for a change. Somewhere between the 1st and the 5th of November, we'll be switching over. If it looks like we can't do it before the election, we'll probably leave Roku in place until then. But if we can do it before the election, we'll have switched over by then, and everybody will be made aware of it. Well, Roku is like shooting darts without a dartboard.
Yeah.
You never know where the damn show's at. I've managed to find it 3 times in the 10 times I went looking. One of the ladies who was watching us early sent me a 5-mile long barcode. If you type it on Roku, it'll bring you to the show. But it is in the live section. But when I go look on live, there's a lot of live shows on Roku. So I guess we're not popular enough to get in the high ones yet. But get out there, check it out, and enjoy it. If you want to watch us on TV, you can always watch us on YouTube or Facebook or any of that. But we're also on Rumble, so be sure to go check us out over there. We're not going to ever be on Truth Social, mainly because they don't do what we're doing. It has nothing to do with Trump. We will one day be on X because X now wants us to pay to be on X, so we'll have to work that out. You can't broadcast, and sooner or later we'll be back. I had set us up to go back on LinkedIn, but then they started a new page instead of giving me my old one back, and I haven't had the time to sit down and correct
Did you
that.
guys give up on SoundCloud?
No, we'll start putting stuff back on SoundCloud, but we've been waiting for this featured stuff to get straightened out. One of the companies we work with that does our advertisement through Google, there's 5 different companies you can pay. One of them somehow or another kind of sort of went out of business. Another one, 2 of them only want to use Bitcoin, which I don't want to use. And the other 2 are funny about what kind of cards you can use. So anyways, hopefully that'll all be straightened out by the weekend too. And we won't have to worry about that anymore. It's a pain. That's what it is. It's just one big pain after another one. What's that, Bruce? No, it's a pain in the ass. I don't make them. We're just here for that. But we got to go. So again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio, UFO Paranormal Radio and TV, and of course UFO Undercover. Be sure to give Jay and Leah some love. I don't know when Leah's going to get her own show. That's up to her. Jay's already on.
What do you mean it's up to me?
Jay's already on 3 shows.
I need a computer.
That's right. You need a computer. No, Jay's on this one, News on the Flip Side, and Church of Mavis.
Church of Mavis will precede News on the Flip Side this Friday.
Well, he does 5 hours with us on Friday. Yeah. I don't think he needs a show on Friday. He's already doing 5.
We got 2 shows already. By the time I finish Joe's show on Friday, I'll have been up in the Eastern Standard Zone from 5 a.m. till 1:30 a.m.
See, that's all the hosts on that show. So I usually get up around 6 in the morning, and I don't get to bed till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It's a long. Everybody who hosts that show has long days. It's a Friday. I thought about moving to a different day, but Friday's a good day. It's a good night. It's a good for the weekend. People.
Yeah, I got Saturdays off. I'm never giving that up. I'll be able to, as long as I schedule things at least 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, I can sleep in late.
So no, it's a good way of doing things. And who Leah? No, Leah's pregnant with quadruplets.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thanks.
Quadruplets. Yes.
Of four different alien species.
And her old man said he wanted 4 more, so that's 8.
Oh God.
I wish.
8 of them. That's enough to make you want to jump off a freaking bridge.
Yeah. Remember the TV show 8 is Enough? They weren't kidding.
She's not pregnant. I was just teasing whoever wrote me that stupid ass comment. But we got to go, guys. So thanks again.
What they say, is Leah pregnant? They really said that?
No, I said you were pregnant, and then they said, oh, "What a shame." I think they were trying to hit on you. Her boyfriend come down here and whoop your ass. You better watch it. Well, wherever you are. I said, down here, there's no telling where you are if you're listening to the network. Where? Canada. No, nobody's coming to Canada. You're safe. Just stay up in Canada. You're good. None of us want to go to Canada. Trudeau lives up there. We don't want to go up there.
Yeah, there's only like 5 people up there, right?
Yeah. Well, they're up to 40 million now. Yeah, I know. See, I was talking to Linda about this the other day. I don't think so. Like they were talking about, was it Lebanon only has 5 million people? That's not a country. That's not even. That's barely even a state.
That's like LA.
That should be like part of.
No, LA's got like 20 million people in it.
9 million, right?
LA is like 8 or 9 million. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even LA.
The city's got like 22 million people in it, but the United States, our cities aren't as big as other cities. I mean, they're big, beautiful cities, but they're not like Hong Kong or any of the big cities with 20 or 30 million people. Don't ask me, people. I guess because there's only 300 million people in America, 350 million people in America, and we're spread out. We got a big country to live in. We're not living in a country that's big. Actually, we're not like China, who's got a country a little bit smaller than us, not including Alaska, just continental U.S. It's a little smaller, and they got 1.4 billion living in it, and half of their shit is mountains and water. They're screwed.
Yeah,
that's why they want to take Russia, because Russia's this big, open, expansive country up there, and China could have a ball up there.
But isn't it like also inhabitable? Like there's no like natural resources. to be had.
Russia is. China is not much in the way of natural resources, but Russia's
Yeah, they consumed most of them.
yeah, Russia's got a lot of the unexplored country. They've got oil all up in Siberia, like the yin.
Yeah, Siberian Kush. They got
the
bread
third
vessels.
Well, why
one.
can't they be happy with what they have then?
Russia's fine. They just don't
Well.
like it. See, I just, by the way, before we go, and this is something we're going to talk about on Friday too, I'm confused about something. So we keep offering the Ukraine to go into NATO. Why not let them go into the EU? NATO is going to start a war because that's what this whole war is about.
Yeah.
Russia don't want Ukraine as a NATO country because it puts NATO on their doorstep. We're already on their doorstep in 2 or 3 other countries. Why not make them an EU country?
Yeah.
And then it's not a threat from NATO.
Maybe that's not what they want because then they wouldn't get like as much funding from the United States.
Well,
No,
no, that's not what yeah, they want money too, but they're more interested in like long range and better weapons, which the UN would give them.
Yeah, we're not going to give, but they can become an EU country, part of the European nation, and that would be good for them and be good for us too. We might get out of our freaking pocket.
Yeah, I mean, what's the tally up to now? It's like 1.7 or 2.8.
I don't know. It's got to be at least $1 trillion. It's
at least it's at least over. It was last number was 1.7.
It's way the hell up there.
Yeah,
people tell me we could be spending here. I don't want to see the Ukrainians get taken over, but I don't want to starve to death either.
Yeah.
Look.
Right.
I hate to agree with Trump on this, but I don't think there should be any money going outside this country until this country is feasible, financially taken care of, and there's no homeless.
All I see are videos online about how the younger generations are literally giving up because they can't afford to rent a home. They can't afford to buy a car.
Because they're
can't
idiots.
Groceries.
So
This
thanks
is
to
our
the
future.
Z-Geners,
It's like
well, the Z-Geners aren't. They just got kicked to the curb. So the millennials will have to hold their own until the generation after the Z-Geners. So, real quick, guys, we'll talk about this real fast. But so, so the big Z-Gener college groups came out the last 2 years. So a bunch of these big companies, like Google and all them, went and hired a bunch of Z-Geners. Within 6 months, every Z-Gener that was hired was fired. And at least 10 of those companies said they will not be doing no hiring from any colleges for at least 5 years. That's how bad the employees were. They said the Z-Geners have no clue of what reality is at all. They expected like $80 an hour and 10 breaks a day. And I don't know. So now they're going to go back and live on their mamas and daddies like the millennials did till they were 30, 35 or something. Hey, guys, we don't make this stuff up. This is just news. But anyway, we got to go. Thanks again. See y'all next week. Have some fun. See everybody Friday night. Stay out of trouble. No illegitimate little babies droning around. We don't hear about any of that stuff. Nothing. Have as many babies as you want. The United States got plenty of them.
And sorry, Michelle.
Good night, everybody, and go visit Michelle. Whoever's left, go visit Michelle over at the Outer Realm and go give Amelia shit, y'all. I will pay y'all $1 each if y'all go give Amelia shit. Good night, everybody.